This afternoon.
There's a swing and a high drive into right center field. This should do it. To his left, Manuel Margot is there. Would you believe 13-0 to start the year? The Tampa Bay Rays have swept the Boston Red Sox 4 in a row, and they tie a major league record by starting the new season 13 wins in a row.
Andy Freed with the final call, WDAE. In the modern era in the game of baseball, the only two teams previously to ever start a baseball season 13-0, the 87 Milwaukee Brewers and the 1982 Atlanta Braves. Those two teams now have company. Tampa Bay explodes for 7 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. Brandon Lau blasts his 5th home run in the last 6 games. Rays win 9-3. 100 runs scored for Tampa, 30 given up in their first 13 games. That's it. The only team with a better start in the history of the game, the 1884 St. Louis Maroons, who won their first 20. According to Adam Schefter, sources telling him the Washington Commanders owners, Dan and Tanya Snyder, nearing a deal to sell the storied franchise.
Coming up Friday, I'll tell you which NBA All-Star has a chance to make the leap to superstar with a big playoff run. Keyshawn J. Willimax, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Locked, loaded, a ton to get to today. LSU-Kentucky game 1 is tonight. Brian Kelly talked about a possible NFL future. We will get to that. Kendall Rogers in hour 3. Jeff Drummond, who covers Kentucky Wildcats, will be with us next hour as well. Maybe some LSU basketball transfer portal news we'll keep an eye on. But we will start where the season ended for the New Orleans Pelicans last night. In the play-in, the Pels fall to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Pels, who are a 5-point favorite, they allowed a 39-point third quarter to OKC, dug themselves a 9-point hole, managed to dig out of it, but couldn't make the plays in the final 3 minutes to finish it off. And as a matter of fact, it looked like they might have after a miracle 3 by Brandon Ingram, who looked kind of like he got hit on the elbow. Probably should have been an opportunity for a 4-point play to tie it, but it's what it is. And after an opportunity to inbound and potentially have a heave for a 3, you have an errant pass to C.J. McCollum that goes out of bounds and fittingly ends with a thud. So the Pels lose to OKC 123-118. The season ends. Here was Willie Green on the loss in the play-in to the Thunder.
Give a lot of credit to OKC. They came out and did what they needed to do to continue to move on, to advance. And like you said, the third quarter, I thought we got a bit casual just in our approach. We talked about it at halftime. They're a really good third quarter team. They just made more plays than us.
Whatever. Okay, so a couple things. Number one, I emotionally disconnected from this team at the end of February. You've heard me say it enough. A lot of you are probably tired of hearing me say it. It was that game against the Magic on February the 27th. We looked at the schedule, exactly where they were at that point. You could mathematically look at what remained, and at the time, the Pelicans had the easiest remaining schedule in the NBA, but they had to get the games at home they were supposed to get. They lost a home game to a young Magic team that they had no business losing, and at that point, it was just not like there was no urgency with this team. They tried to kick it in. They fooled us by winning some games late against some teams that weren't playing any of their players, and they got into the play-in. And even on Sunday, when they had the opportunity to be as high as a 5 seed or as low as a 9 seed, they lose at Minnesota despite an awesome performance by Brandon Ingram. They got none of the help they needed. They end up the 9, and they gag away a home play-in game. But listen, if you're pissed today, I don't blame you. If you're frustrated, if you're upset, if you're mad, you're sad, whatever emotion you're feeling associated with this team and this season ending, I don't blame you. We all know it. In December, this team, at the end of December, was the best team in the Western Conference and one of the best teams in the entire NBA. You had Zion Williamson windmill dunking at the 360 dunking against Phoenix. Remember that at the end of the game, the exclamation point of the blowout, and everybody got butthurt about it, and everyone's like, oh my God, it's euphoria. This is what it's like to watch a contending team. And then Zion hurts his hamstring on January the 2nd. Brandon Ingram's toe injury that lingered forever and a day. Jose Alvarado obviously missed the home stretch. Injuries really bit this team, no doubt, and it unraveled. But it's not sufficient to just lay it at the foot of injuries. Was that a part of it? Absolutely. You miss your star players in a star-driven league. Yes, that's obviously going to matter. But listen, you could look at that game last night and see a lot of the things isolated that were problems all year long. CJ McCollum, who's a great player, an argument for being a Hall of Fame player whenever his career does in fact end. His shot selection throughout this season at times has been atrocious, and it was again down the stretch last night, and it killed you. CJ McCollum was 5 of 15 from the floor, just 1 of 5 from 3. He had 14 points. It was just not enough from a star player when you needed it in a win-or-go-home scenario. Willie Green even talked about it. Yeah, it was not a great night for CJ McCollum when you needed it.
They made him take tough shots, and when he tried to drive, the paint was crowded, and not his best night, but CJ has been one of our leaders all season, and we're all appreciative of the work that he puts in and the work that he puts in on the floor.
Yeah, great stuff. We all appreciate that. Yeah, we're appreciative. And you're sad because the season's over and all that stuff. The reason that I'm in any way emotional today, I didn't expect anything from this team. Y'all know that. I said it for weeks. Like, I emotionally disengaged from this season. What could have been wasn't going to be. They were toast, okay? And I'm not surprised they lost last night. I picked them to win. I thought they'd win. I thought they'd win against OKC and lose at Minnesota on Friday. So their season ended 2 days before I thought it would. Okay, sucks. Would have been great to win it. Try to advance. Didn't happen. Whatever. The thing that I am pissed off about today is the Zion dunk. And I probably shouldn't be super pissed off about it because we've seen Zion do stuff like this. We've seen him dunking in pregames. We've seen him do it. But, there is Zion before the game for the world to see, working himself into a really nice lather, being D'd up, going with the left hand, right hand, driving the lane, dunking. Bro, you want to talk about optics? If nothing else, I don't care if you can drive the lane and dunk. Fake it. Go slow. Do it in the practice gym when cameras aren't rolling. That is mocking everybody who follows this team. You're healthy enough to get out there, work yourself into a lather, drive the lane against the defender, dunk the basketball. The medical team has said you're fine, and you can't even get out there in an elimination game and give your team one thing. You can't even put on the jersey? You're sitting over there in jeans and sneaks at the end of the bench watching? Nah, man. Look, I like Zion. We all like Zion. Whenever the Pels won the lottery, the video that went viral of the Pelicans front office room exploding, draft night there on Fulton Street, whenever the Pels picked Zion, all the celebration, awesome. His debut when he's just raining threes. I just mentioned the 360 duck against Phoenix. Look, in 3 years, Zion's basically played the equivalent of one season's worth of games. And he is a supreme talent in all of that stuff. But Zion Williamson not getting his ass on the floor last night was the weakest of weak sauce things you could imagine. And I wouldn't have been sitting here today saying this if I didn't see this video put out before the game yesterday. Is there a difference in pregame warm-up speed and NBA do-or-die situation speed? Yes. I don't care. So you tweak your hammy and you lose the game. Guess what? You got until October to figure it out. Completely unacceptable. And my fear over the weekend when we heard David Griffin come out and put it at Zion's feet is now you have this. I said this on Monday. We talked about it right here on Monday. We talked about this. We've done this too damn long to know. When the front office comes out publicly and hangs their player out to dry, it ain't good. This is not good. When David Griffin comes out and says, well, he's healthy. Doctors have cleared him. Really, it's just up to him when he can do what he wants to do. It's like they're at odds now. A lot of y'all are saying, well, trade Zion. How are you going to trade Zion? You signed him to a max extension last year. Where you trading him to? For what? This organization it's so unfortunate because last year, all of the goodwill that you built down the stretch without Zion and thought you would be able to build upon this year with him, it's gone. Like, it's all gone. There might be lingering, pieces of excitement. Some of the players will be back next year, but like, you needed to build upon last year, this year. You needed to go from play-in to you needed to be a top 6 seed and probably win a series. And this is where you are now. Instead, you're out in the play-in. You lose a home game, and your star player, who's been out since January 2nd, 3 months with a hamstring injury, didn't tear the hamstring off the bone. God bless you. That's hella painful. I could understand if you're on the shelf for that. But this is where we are? And I'm telling y'all, I watched that game last night, and like if you would have had a pulse ox on me, and you would have been measuring my heart rate throughout the game, it would have been totally steady. Like, I was unemotional about the whole thing. And then I'm watching, they lose the game, and I'm watching these pregame dunks. And I didn't see him. I didn't see him until after the game because I left here and went straight to Oliver Twist to do the show with T-Bob. So I had no idea any of that had happened until postgame. And then I got really pissed off. And if you're pissed off today about it, you should be pissed off today about it. I mean, brother, Zion's a great dude. We all love him. He's been great to the city. Wants to be in New Orleans, all that stuff. That's fantastic. And we want you to be here and we want you to be awesome. But at some point, there's accountability where you got to step up as a star player and get your ass on the floor. You're out there running pregame dunks and all this sort of stuff. You're medically cleared. Get out there and do it. And maybe it's going to take someone in the organization pushing him out the nest. But I guess it's too late now. Hopefully he's ready in October. Pell season ends. All right, it's after further review. We're going to flip things up a little bit. Andrew Lopez is going to join us at the bottom of the hour, so when we come back, we'll go around the SEC. It's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Stick around.
AFR.
We're brought to you by ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Electric vehicles are everywhere. You've been hearing me say it, whether you drive one or like them. It's really irrelevant. The fact of the matter is, when you look at charts and trends of people buying and driving EVs, it's like a hockey stick curve going right up. Well, people driving EVs need EV chargers. So ProCharge EV is here for you. If you own a business, a commercial business, or just a commercial building, go to ProChargeEV.com. ProCharge is giving away 3 EV chargers this month. It's easy. Just go to ProChargeEV.com, hit the charger giveaway tab at the top of the homepage, and then just like that, fill out the form. It's simple. I mean, it's like 4 lines. Fill out the form, and then at the end of the month, they'll pick 3 businesses or commercial buildings to install an EV charger free. Not only will that bring people to your business, but it'll also create passive revenue. There's tap-to-pay options when people pull up, so you just collect a check as well. It's ProChargeEV.com. Enter today, ProChargeEV.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back.
Join us on Saturday, April 22nd
at the Otter Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown presented by Oshner.
Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
All right. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
All right, let's say ah.
After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Y'all think I went too hard after Zion? It's about the first time ever you're going to agree with Stephen A. Smith. Play number 2, please.
This man gave a quote, and this is why I don't blame, even though I'm not totally with Kendrick Perkins on trading him just yet. This is why I can't knock KP for what he just said. Zion Williamson, Wendy, gave a quote. And the quote was, physically, I'm ready. I'm just not ready to play until I'm Zion. What the hell does that mean? If you are physically ready, you should be out on the court.
Yes, you should.
Period.
We've had church. Amen. Thank you, Stephen A. A lot of y'all hate Stephen A. I don't care if you like Stephen A. or don't. When you agree with Stephen A., when you and Stephen A. are in lockstep, whoever's on the other side, they wrong. Go around the SEC in just a quick second. LSU's made it official today. We knew this was happening already, but the paperwork is in. It is now official. Jordan Wright, transfer from Vanderbilt. He is officially now an LSU Tiger. Paperwork is in. So Jordan Wright, 4 years at Vanderbilt, transferring to LSU as a grad student, immediate eligibility, 1 year to play, and he immediately upgrades LSU's backcourt. And then also the paperwork is in on Jalen Cook as well. Remember, you only Jalen Cook is the transfer from Tulane, from Walker, started his career at LSU, 1 season, transferred to Tulane. He's been all-conference in the American the past couple of years, now transferring back to LSU here as a senior. He will need a waiver. Remember, Jalen Cook was with us earlier this week. He will need a waiver, but they are confident he's going to get that waiver. And I'm going to tell you again, the other guy worth keeping an eye on is Carlos Stewart, a guy from Dunham who played at Santa Clara the last 2 years, averaged 15 a game this year. I'm told he's on LSU's campus today on a visit. So they are expecting guys can always change their mind. Things can always happen, but they're expecting to get Carlos Stewart as well. Weeks ago, we told you that Matt McMahon was going to target Louisiana guys to bring them home, and this plan is coming together pretty well. And Stewart would be that third piece. They're not done. Obviously, you've lost 6 guys to the portal already. You got more work to do, but this would be a fantastic start. You've got Wright, you've got Cook. Let's even get Stewart to seal the deal with Stewart as well, and the Tigers will be on their way. All right. Andrew Lopez is going to join us in about 10 minutes. Let me remind you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. You know where to find them, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Look, we're heading toward the warm weather months, right, where we hit triple-digit temps, and your home gets really warm and your AC has to work overtime and your energy bills go up. If you want to keep those energy bills down, install energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. These windows, in essence, will help lower your energy costs. Your AC doesn't have to work as hard. They measure twice, install once. Custom windows perfectly fit for your home. It's Relief Windows. Learn more today online at reliefwindows.com or just walk in to their state-of-the-art showroom on Airline Highway in Prairieville. Go south on Airline in Prairieville, pass Highway 42, look to the right about a quarter mile. You can't miss it. They always have an associate ready to talk to you Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Just walk on in to Relief Windows. Reliefwindows.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee is shaking up their weekend rotation for the first time this season. The Vols are going to start junior Andrew Lindsey on Friday in Fayetteville against Arkansas. The rest of the rotation is listed as TBA. Of course, they've gone Dolander, Burns, Beam all season long, but Dolander and Burns have struggled so far this season. See what ultimately they elect to do. Tony Vitello could obviously turn to Dolander for Game 2 Saturday, which is where he was in the rotation a year ago when he had such a dominant season. So we'll keep an eye on it as the Vols, who are just 5-7 in conference play, look to get on track.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Big man Ugonya Nyoso, who entered the NCAA transfer portal on April 5th, is returning to Kentucky. He was ranked the number 59 transfer. This is a really interesting one. He's a 7-footer from Nigeria. He only made 16 appearances this year, so in limited appearances, limited minutes, he was very productive. Jonathan Givony at ESPN.com ranked him as the 40th best player in next year's draft, keeping in mind 5-star prospect who was a 2023 prospect who reclassified to Kentucky for 2022, was in the portal but now is headed back to Lexington.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas has landed a basketball transfer from Cincinnati wing Jeremiah Davenport. He'll have 1 year of eligibility remaining. 6'7", 215 pounds. Averaged 9, 4, and 1 for the Bearcats this past season. Davenport joins fellow transfers Keon Minifield from Washington, Tremont Mark from Houston, and Khalif Battle from Temple.
Texas A&M!
Aggie sophomore safety Jacoby Matthews, remember him? He was arrested and charged with possession of under 2 ounces of a controlled substance this week by university police. Matthews' bond was set at $3,000. He paid it the same day and was subsequently released. Remember, 5-star safety out of Ponchatoula was mostly a backup a year ago, but was ready to take on a much bigger role this season.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
And Bama football has landed another 4-star prospect, this time for the class of 2025. Dontrell Glover, 6'3", 290-pound offensive lineman, has committed to Nick Saban's squad. Also had offers from Ohio State, Georgia, and others. Second offensive lineman for the 2025 class to commit to the Tide. Currently have no offensive linemen committed for 2024. All right, keeping an eye on the baseball scores. Of course, LSU and Kentucky will play at 6 o'clock tonight. Missouri and Texas A&M are the other baseball series getting underway. There were a couple of games in the league on Wednesday night. Arkansas got actually pounded by Little Rock. So sorry to say, the Hog season over. Better luck next year, Dave Van Horn. You can't lose 11-4 in the midweek game to Little Rock and actually hope to accomplish anything of merit. So Arkansas' season ends despite being ranked 5th in the country. And Ole Miss, they finally got a win. All it took was playing a SWAC school. 13-4, they beat Alcorn last night in Oxford. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales service after the sale. That's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products, the official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the ULL Ragin' Cajuns. LSU and Kentucky, game 1 tonight, 6 o'clock. We are looking at weather over the weekend, and in particular, Saturday. By now, you know this, because LSU, unfortunately, has experienced it too often. You've got 3 days to play 3 games. Even though it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series, you cannot extend the series into Sunday despite starting on Thursday. So Saturday is supposed to be the bad weather day around here. So keep an eye on the possibility. I know it's been discussed And Jay Johnson even talked about this a bit yesterday, but I know LSU and Kentucky have discussed the possibility of a Friday doubleheader. So they'll play tonight. Tonight looks good. Friday looks like the best day of the weekend. So if you are going to play a doubleheader, not chance it on Saturday, Friday would be the day to do it. So if they make that announcement, we'll let you know. I don't know if it would come before this game or they'll wait till after tonight's game to see if they might make that decision. But if they do make any alterations to the schedule, we'll let you know. But what I can tell you is that's been discussed, playing a doubleheader on Friday to avoid the bad weather on Saturday. We'll let you know as it plays out. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us here. As we mentioned, the Pels season came to an end last night. Our friend Andrew Lopez has been so good to us all season long, giving us a lot of his time. He'll jump aboard once more from an airport somewhere, but we'll look forward to talking to Andrew Lopez when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel and the Watermark Hotel. If you're in downtown or Southtown, two great properties. The Watermark, downtown Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge's original skyscraper, the old Louisiana National Bank building. They preserved so much of the history of that building. The marbling, the artistic work engraved all throughout the lobby area. You walk in, it's like walking into a time capsule. It's gorgeous. If you're downtown, you want a cocktail after work, I don't know that there's a better place than the bar there inside of the Watermark. It is gorgeous with an amazing selection, and the Gregory is absolutely magnificent. If you want fine dining, the Gregory inside of the Watermark is the place to go try it out. And remember, they've also got weekend brunch. So if you want Saturday, Sunday brunch and you want to beat some of the crowds, head downtown and check out the Watermark Hotel. It's the Watermark Hotel in downtown Baton Rouge. Tell them Matt sent you in over at the Watermark Hotel.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $2,000 off MSRP, plus 2.9% APR for 84 months on new 22 Ford Expeditions. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Pels lose to OKC in the play-in. Season ends. Our buddy Andrew Lopez, good enough to jump aboard with us. He was at the Blender last night. He's here now. I actually think he's in an airport somewhere. How are you, dude?
That is correct. My ticket for Minnesota was booked already, so I guess I'm still going.
Okay.
See what's going on up there. I guess I'll cover a game tomorrow. We'll see how that works.
How's the weather in Minnesota in April?
Well, I'll tell you what. It was when we were there this past weekend. It was like the 60s, but there was like still clumps of snow everywhere, like on the ground. Like the snow hasn't melted.
Yeah.
I believe today there was like a high of 82, low of like 40 something. So I'm sure when I get there it'll be 40 something because that's my luck.
Yeah, man. With clumps of snow.
It's like a 50s day on Saturday. I'll be glad I'll be leaving on Saturday. So
okay,
but it's all going to work out.
All right, so Pell season's over. If I said, based on what the expectations were for this team, if you had to put a grade on the season, pass or fail, or somewhere in between, how would you grade them?
I mean, it's kind of got to be a fail, right? I think, but there are reasons why it is a fail. Like, you know what I'm saying? There are reasons why you went down this way, and I think even CJ kind of said it last night. It's hard to not look at what this team could have been with injuries. Now, CJ said a lot of things last night. I'm sure we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard, and unfortunately, availability is an ability, and that was not one that the Pelicans had this year from their stars. Out of 83 games, including the play-in, your top three players played 10 games, 172 minutes, plus 60 in those minutes. When they played, they were great. Even when two of them played, for the most part, if one of them was Zion, you were in a great spot, first in the West. Obviously, when he misses the final 46, 47 games, things go awry, and that's what we saw. So if you're looking at expectations, fail, especially considering where you were, in December at first and 1 point. Even when Z gets hurt, you're still third, I think, at that point, or maybe second, a half game behind. So you're a half game behind Memphis, a game behind Denver on January 2nd. So the fact that you got to this point, yes, it's a fail, but there are very much reasons why, and that, has everything to do with injuries.
Okay. You said it has everything to do with injuries. I'm going to push back a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not going to completely disregard not having Zion Williamson for the final 46 games, obviously. Okay. And Brandon Ingram with the toe missed 20-some-odd games. You're right. It matters. Star-driven league, you got to have your stars. This team had other warts. Where are their warts fixable this offseason?
So a couple of things. One, I think you need more shooting on this team. And you saw how bad that was when Herb wasn't shooting well. Teams could just really collapse the lane. Once Herb started shooting well, you saw some things start to open up. Brandon, Trey, I think you got to get more shots for Trey. I think Trey needs to be a guy who's shooting 10 threes a game, no matter what. Willie has said several times he wants to shoot 35 threes a game. I think that was not a number that they hit very often. You got to get rim protection. JB is a good center for what he is on the offensive end, but does not provide the punch I think that you want on the defensive end when your point of attack guy is CJ McCollum at times. Obviously, sometimes your point of attack guy is Herb or somebody else whoever's guarding the ball, but I think you need to. There's only so many lower tier guys you can have on the defensive end. Effort is great, and we saw a big jump from Brandon Ingram in that regard this year. However, I don't think we saw the best version. And it's funny talking about rim protection and for a team that finished sixth in defense, sixth in points allowed per 100 possessions. So it is kind of funny talking about that, but I do think a lot of that is Herb. I think a lot of that was a lot of luck on, not so much luck, because I think if you do it for a whole season, if you do it for 82 games, it's not luck. Teams shot very bad against them from deep. I think it was like first or second in opponent 3-point percentage. They contest a lot. They do a lot of that. Herb, Trey, Najee, Josh Richardson, Brandon Ingram. They're a very long arm team in that regard. But outside of health, I think the number one thing that you were looking at going into next season is you need rim protection and you need more consistent shooting. Those two things I think will help you kind of take that next step.
Andrew Lopez is here. Okay, who is not back? By the way, you're right. The Pelicans did lead the NBA in opponent three-point percentage, 33.9%. Who is not back on this team next year?
You know, I will say, look, let me start with this. I'll tell you who is back. Zion Williamson. Let's just put that one out there right now. Okay.
we're gonna get there, but yeah.
All right. Let's just start right there. Brandon's back. CJ's back. Your core is back. How you make moves on the fringe kind of tells you what you want to do. The number one candidate I would look at is probably Jonas Valanciunas.
Okay.
And again, not for what he does on the offensive end. I mean, when he's putting up, I mean, he's one of 6 or 7 guys all time to have a double-double while averaging under 25 minutes a game. And nobody on that list scored as much as he did. I mean, he was a 14 and 10 guy when playing 24 minutes a night, 25 minutes a night.
Yeah, great stat.
He just cannot defend the way that Willie Green wants to defend. I'm going to be very clear about that. I think what Willie wants to do, Willie wants to run offensively. Willie wants to get up and down. That is not in JV's bag. Okay, he's not going to be the guy running up and down the floor, catching, not even catching lobs. I don't even think you have to do that. But he's not the guy who's going to be sprinting back up and down the floor all game long. He's also not the guy who's going to switch as much. He did have a couple of moments last night where he was able to stop the defender, get back, especially when they were kind of trapping Shea. But maybe not the way that Willie wants to play all of the time. He is a great weapon, especially when you are missing Zion or Brandon for an extended period of time, because you can throw it down to the big fella, let the big fella go to work, get a couple easy buckets. We saw his value on the first 4 possessions last night when he got 3 offensive rebounds and putbacks.
Yeah.
So he still has value in this league. I just don't know if he is being maximized on this team because of the style of basketball they want to play, especially on the defensive end with how Willie likes to switch and do things like that. So if that is the case, I think he would be maybe at the top of my list. Jackson Hayes is a restricted free agent. I'm going to be very interested to see what happens with him. He has had an up and down career here, to say the least, with New Orleans. And that was with Alvin Gentry, that was with Stan Van Gundy, and that was with Willie Green. If everything is up and down with all 3 coaches, what's the common denominator?
Yeah, it's you.
So if that light bulb ever comes on for him, oh my God, it's going to be great. But how many times are you going to be asking how many times is that light bulb going to come on? Which, again, we can say, how many times is the light bulb going to come on for somebody else? I'm sure we'll talk about that in a second. But in terms of other things that he needs to do on the court. But right now, I think for Jackson, he could be gone. Obviously, that's just a contract thing. JV could be a contract you look to move. Obviously, you sign Larry to an extension. I don't think you look to move him. CJ is going to be, here around, especially coming off, thumb surgery and probably shoulder surgery now. Brandon, you saw, Brandon played at 29, 8, and 7 for the last 15 games of the season. If you get that production out of him next year with a healthy number 1 and a healthy number 3, I think this team looks like the team we saw in December, who was, top of the West more than, what we saw the team who's not going to be in the playoffs. Okay,
so there's a million more things I could ask, but really the only thing anybody cares about today is Zion. So probably should have led with it, but, it's what it is. Andrew Lopez is with us. So, look, man, you're around the team every day. You're around Zion. You're around the coaches. You're like, I blew a gasket at the start of the show. I had no expectation for this team to make any type of run in the postseason, but when I saw the pregame video of him dunking, it pissed me off, man, and I think that's the reaction a lot of people have had. Are others right to have that reaction to what's transpired here, let's call it over the last 72 hours?
I think that it is a proper reaction to have. I think there is context needed, though. Let's go back to I'm physically fine. It's just a mental hurdle. Let's start there.
Okay.
I don't want to put words in his mouth. That is the sentence that he said. I've been led to believe that he was not physically fine. He can say it. I think he was triggered by a question in the word benchmark. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
And he said he was physically fine when he was not physically fine. I think he is physically fine in the sense that he feels like he can do anything. I think and when I say conditioning, I do not mean, where he is physically, like weight-wise. I mean, I watched him warm up. I don't know if he could give you 4 to 5 minutes in a quarter. I honestly don't. I still think there were hurdles for him to clear. I don't know if he was even clear for 5-on-5 at this point. There were still things that he had to hit. I think he just got a little overzealous in trying to get the point across that, look, it is still something mental. Like, don't get me wrong. There is a mental block there. However, I do not believe he was physically fine. We saw him throw windmills on a broken foot. That's nothing for him. But hey, I agree, not a great look in that moment. The next step for him, he's obviously got a lot of work to do. He's got a lot of work to do on his body. It's hard to do cardio when you have full hamstring, especially when the team's not clearing you. So that part is difficult for him. But looking at him at the end of the game last night, it hurt him. And I know if it hurt him that much, he would have been on the floor. I get that. I trust me, I do. Looking at the kid last night, you could tell that loss hurt him. And I don't know if it's because he felt like he should have been out there. He felt like he should have pushed himself. He felt like he should have been in a position to have been cleared. But it was not just a strictly when I feel like Zion type issue. It was still, he had hurdles to clear. As Griff said 3 days before, that there were next steps that he had to take. And so there was still some a ways for him to go before he was going to be able to be on that floor.
Okay, so, I mean, the bajillion-dollar question, which you can't answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway, is, all right, so how do they make sure he's healthy to play 82 or as close to that number as possible next year?
Correct. A lot of that's on him. A lot of that starts with him. And he started to make those strides last summer. He's got his personal strength and conditioning coach now. He started to talk about, he's had different chefs that he's had to work with. But a lot of that falls on to him. What commitment level is he going to take? And I think CJ said it last night in talking about a lot of people, not just specifically Z, but he's talking about, our young guys have to get in their routine. They have to get their diets. They have to get their weight, their sleep in. We got to learn how to be NBA guys. And I think that wasn't, it obviously sounds like it's a direct shot at one person. I don't think that's the case at all. There were several games this year where this team was not prepared from jump in a game. Willie Green talked about that many times. We have to play 48 minutes. That team did not do this. I think that goes down the list of guys not being ready, guys not being prepared. And I think, maybe it does take something like this and a loss like this for them to kind of, maybe that light bulbs go off for the team in general, outside of the big fella. And I think when we see what Z does, we'll see exactly how much he's committed, and it's all going to start this summer. When, what is that going to look like? I'm sure he will be cleared to do everything soon. That's a longer runway than he had last year. Remember, he wasn't cleared last year from doing the foot stuff until, I want to say, mid to late May. You got an extra kind of month right now. There's only so much. Like last year, you're trying to work on game shape. Now you're trying to work on the body, everything else. So I think obviously everybody can say anything they want. But the biggest thing is going to be, what does he look like when we get back, in the training camp in September? And I think that's going to be a big key. He already took the steps in the right direction. There's only so much that the staff can do. At the end of the day, you're still telling, a 22, 23-year-old kid, excuse me, I need you to do X, Y, Z. It's on him to do X, Y, Z. You can't. There's only so much you can force the guy to do on your own. It's going to be what level of commitment does he have? And I'm telling you, I know it sounds like it's making excuses with him, but I watched him last night after that game. That loss hit him different than I think others have, because he thought in his head, if we get by this game, if we get by Minnesota on Friday, I'll be able to come back and help you in the first round, and that didn't happen. And I think that hit him very, very hard last night.
He's Andrew Lopez on Twitter at _Andrew_Lopez. Give him a follow. He's been with the Pels all year and been good enough to be generous with his time for us. Man, we always appreciate it. Safe travels up there to Minnesota. We could talk about this all day, but there will be other dates in the future, man. We appreciate you.
Oh, yes, there will. All right, sounds good. Thank you, Matt.
Be well. That's Andrew Lopez. This is After Further Review. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number 1. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001. Mention the Moscona special. They'll knock $25 off any system repair, and they'll knock $25 off your preseason AC tune-up. I always suggest you do this. Matter of fact, I got a phone call today from River City's 1 Hour Air for my preseason AC tune-up. Tell you all the time, you remember the membership club. Remember, that's a complimentary, that seasonal maintenance is a complimentary service. They call me to schedule it. I don't even have to remember. They take all the guesswork out of it. Look, love sharing 5-star Google reviews. This one comes in from Chantel Watkins, who said, David, the technician, David did a great job with my system, maintenance, very informative, super professional. 5 stars. You see that over and over and over again at River City's 1 Hour Air because their technicians are expertly trained. The continuing education matters, and they want you to feel comfortable with who's in your home. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Not only did she tell us, but this young lady, stand up.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back.
Join us on Saturday, April 22nd.
At the Otter Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown, presented by Oshner.
Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number one. Brian Kelly was on a Barstool podcast. This actually was last week. Somehow slipped through a lot of the cracks, but you're starting to see some of the quotes pop up on it today. I want to talk about that right after the top of the hour. We'll have enough time to really explore. He kind of talked about a lot of stuff, including a potential NFL future. So we'll get some of that. We'll get some of that right after the top of the hour. Earlier this week, Brian Kelly, when he was meeting with reporters, was asked about the transfer portal. And I'll paraphrase a little bit, but he talked about positions that they would be looking for, and he said they're still looking on defense, maybe improve the offense, specifically the offensive line is what he mentioned. And really what he said was, we're not looking for a player to come in to be a starter. We're looking for depth. Guys who might be able to come in and provide us depth in spots and maybe make us better in the long term. And part of the point that I made then was it's impossible to know what really you're targeting in the transfer portal until you know who is in the transfer portal. Because the example I gave was 2018 with Joe Burrow. LSU had 3 scholarship quarterbacks. They had Miles Brennan and Lowell Narcisse and Justin McMillan. They weren't necessarily looking for a quarterback. Well, in pop Joe Burrow, and all of a sudden you're looking for a quarterback, right? So until you see what players are in the portal, it's hard to specifically say. Like, you're not just going to take a safety just to take a safety. You're not going to take a receiver just to take a receiver. If the right player is there, you do. But what the position Brian Kelly specifically mentioned was offensive line. And this is something we have talked about literally here for months. Since the end of the regular season, I shared that with you. It was made clear to me that the very obvious targets were going to be cornerback, defensive line, tight end, and offensive line, veteran offensive line depth, because they felt like they were going to lose offensive linemen to the portal, and they did. They ended up losing 6 offensive linemen, veteran offensive linemen to the portal. Now, you return your top 6 guys, but you lose depth. And they went out and they addressed it by adding Mason Lunsford, the Maryland transfer, in the first portal cycle, but it doesn't mean they're done. I mean, Brian Kelly's still here telling you they may be looking at portal additions on the offensive line if they're there. And the position I would tell you more than any other that is an absolute need is center. And a center is now in the transfer portal from an SEC school. Matthew Wyckoff announced that he's entered the transfer portal. Texas A&M was a 3-star, but late in his recruitment process, he got on a lot of people's radars and got offers from Auburn and Notre Dame and Penn State and Texas and Southern Cal. Ultimately, picked the Aggies. He was a tackle in high school, but he gets to A&M. Luke Matthews is there, so they move him to center. And he was behind Foster. Well, when Foster got hurt, he stepped in and started the rest of this season. Well, he's been injured so far in spring and hasn't contributed very much. But now, look, he's an outlier. Think Ethan Posick. This is a dude who's 6'7". Like, he's got the body of a tackle, but the smarts. And so they kicked him inside to play center and started half the season this year, or more than half the season this year, at center in the SEC. I'm not telling you, number one, that Matthew Wyckoff would have LSU at the top of his list. I'm not telling you he'd come in and beat out Charles Turner. I'm not telling you he'd come in and beat out Marlon Martinez. I'm just telling you, after those two guys, remember, Turner has been patiently waiting his turn and played pretty well last year. Martinez got some reps late in the season, but that was his first crack ever at center. You're still cross-training dudes to learn that position. Bo Bordelon is a guy that you just moved to center this spring to see if you can get some depth there. You haven't recruited a true center. Remember, when they recruited Fitzgerald West, the former staff did, as a defensive lineman, the thought was they offered him as a center. Well, this staff has moved him defense and offense. They've moved him back and forth. You don't really have great options there. If you can add a guy with starting experience in the Southeastern Conference at that position, you do it. You've got the scholarships available. You need the depth. And you can tell them, hey, man, we rotated 2 guys there last year. If you come in and you're better, we'll play you. Brian Kelly, that's not lip service. He'll actually do it. So that's one to keep an eye on. Matthew Wyckoff from Texas A&M, center in the transfer portal. And look, LSU already offered Jake Renfro from Cincinnati, Ja'Kai Clark from Miami. They picked other spots. So they're looking for centers, and this could be the next one to keep an eye on. We'll follow it. Okay, it's After Further Review, SportsCenter, coming right up.
AFR.
Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. If you're in the market for a vehicle or might be in the market for a new vehicle, put Volkswagen on your list. If it's the Tiguan, that's the compact SUV, the Atlas, the 3-row 7-seater family SUV, the Crossport, which is what I just started driving, traded in the Atlas for the Crossport. The Crossport takes out the third row, little sleeker design on the back. Find what's perfect for you. The ID4, the all-electric SUV for everyone at South Point Volkswagen. And they've got them on the lot, too, by the way. You can go to southpointvw.com, make your reservation right now for the Volkswagen ID4, the first electric SUV for everyone. It's at South Point Volkswagen. You want the style, the feel, the performance of luxury, the great German engineering, all the safety features without the cost? You want Volkswagen. You want South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A Louisiana State trooper busted for doctor shopping, given a break by the State Police Commission today. They voted to cut his suspension in half after he got implicated in the scheme. That trooper appealing his suspension on a technicality, and some of his own co-workers believe he should have been arrested. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Kevin Winter. It was May of 1999 when 34-year-old Dan Snyder was approved for ownership of the then Washington Redskins. He bought the team for $800 million. He's now going to sell the team for more than $6 billion. It is a story that has taken the spotlight here on SportsCenter. Dan and Tanya Snyder have reached a preliminary agreement to sell the team to a group led by Josh Harris who co-owns the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils. All this according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. The sale price for the Commanders, $6.05 billion. The deal is not exclusive. It is not signed. That also means a group could come in and buy the team right from underneath. Sources tell Schefter the group led by Canadian billionaire Steve Apostolopoulos is still involved in the process. Round 1 of the NBA playoffs starts Saturday. Top-seeded Bucks. They won't play until Sunday. Head coach Mike Budenholzer said today Chris Middleton was a full participant in practice. He works his way back from a sore right knee. He hasn't played since April 5th. 7-run fifth. The Rays have a 13-0 start. They beat the Red Sox 9-3 at the Trop today.
Coming up Friday, I'll tell you which NBA All-Star has a chance to make the leap to superstar with a big playoff run. Keyshawn J. Will and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. We're going to head to Lexington in 15 minutes. Talk to our buddy Jeff Drummond. I want to find out about this Kentucky baseball team. Odd that they, on Wednesday, when LSU announced its starting rotation, Kentucky did not. They did not announce anybody in their rotation. They have since announced their games 2 and 3 starters, but we still don't know who's getting the ball tonight. So what's going on there? The assumption, I think, would have to be that it's Zach Lee, who started every weekend so far this year for Kentucky. It's just a bit odd that he isn't listed as one of the starters this weekend. I don't know of an injury or anything like that, so we'll ask Jeff Drummond here in about 12 minutes from right now. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Somehow missed this last week. Brian Kelly was a guest on Bussin' with the Boys. That's a podcast on Barstool. And it actually dropped on April the 5th. So that was last Wednesday. It was 8 days ago. But sometimes it happens and content's put out there and then it gains a second life in the news cycle when someone picks up a quote and then runs with it. Well, the thing that's getting a lot of attention is whether or not Brian Kelly would ever be interested in coaching in the NFL. Like, would he have an NFL future? It is worth mentioning that Brian Kelly, now this has been 10 years. It was 2013. But Brian Kelly did interview for the Eagles opening back in 2013. And if I'm not mistaken, that's when Chip Kelly took the job when he left Oregon and went to Philadelphia. So the Eagles were looking for a college coach at the time. And sometimes NFL teams are looking for that college coach to make the transition, the jump. But typically when that happens, it's someone that is sort of a transformational type coach. Like Chip Kelly was such an offensive innovator. They were trying to inject that into the NFL. You could think about, you could point out Matt Rule. Urban Meyer might be an example, obviously later, but Bobby Petrino, such an innovative offensive mind when he left Louisville for the Atlanta Falcons. Some of those make sense. I'm not sure Brian Kelly at 61 makes sense to the NFL, but anyway, here was the interaction about Brian Kelly potentially ever looking at an NFL gig.
Do you think there's ever a time you see yourself becoming an NFL head coach?
No,
you're a college guy through and through.
Yeah, this is it. I love what I do, and because I've refound if that's a word, the relationships with the players, and I enjoy that too much. And not being a play caller anymore, I'm not in meetings. I don't have to sit in those long meetings, so I can be downstairs. I can be in the training room. I can eat with the guys, and it just allows you that opportunity to be with the players more.
For what it's worth, and I totally believe him. Maybe that's naive. An NFL team could always come along and offer him $20 million a year, and maybe he looks at that and goes, okay, I don't have to recruit. I can make that money. I get summers off. I mean, there's some of it that makes sense, right? But coaches don't typically jump to the NFL late in their career. Maybe the most obvious example to the contrary is Pete Carroll. When Pete Carroll left Southern Cal for Seattle in 2010, he was 58 years old. Brian Kelly's 61 already. And I'm not sitting here saying 61's old. It's not like the guy's got a foot in the grave. I'm just saying, as far as a coach looking to potentially make a career move, it's typically, if it's going to happen earlier. Nick Saban, when he left LSU for the Miami Dolphins, was 53 years old. Urban Meyer, who was, again, out of coaching, but went to Jacksonville, he was 56 when he went to Jacksonville. But like I mentioned, Bobby Petrino, he was 45. When Matt Rule left Baylor for Carolina, he was 45. That's typically what you see. Guys in their 40s maybe make that jump after a college career. Not exactly what, but you could sort of look at Cliff Kingsbury, a guy in his 40s who made that jump to Arizona as well in his 40s. But at this point, I don't know that Brian Kelly would have. I mean, he could have stayed at Notre Dame forever. They were not going to fire him. He could have been the coach there forever. He could have won a lot of games. But Brian Kelly left because there was one thing he could never do at Notre Dame, and he knew it, and that's win a national championship. As odd as that is to say, because of their championship history, the current state of that athletic department and that university is such that they will not give him the resources you need to be able to assemble a roster to beat Georgia or Alabama or LSU consistently enough in a championship setting to win a national championship. So he knew he could have the resources here to do it, which is why he's here. And I think if and or when he does that at LSU, that will be the crowning achievement of his career. And then is when he might start thinking about retirement, whenever that may be. But I don't think he's necessarily close to that. And that's what he talked about when it came to recruiting. The guys asked him about, like, the high school talent in the South. And as a matter of fact, this is one of the things the day Brian Kelly was hired, I sat in the press conference and asked him because he came here and got players from time to time out of Louisiana. Most recently, Logan Diggs, the running back from Rummel, who's up at Notre Dame right now. He's come here and tried to win some of those battles. So Brian Kelly knows very well about the high school talent here. That's part of why he's here.
Lack of distractions, right? They're not sitting in front of PlayStations. There's not a lot of other things that take them away from field sports. They're outside playing for the most part. And, whether it's being involved in football or track and field or, training, they're involved in this game. And it's something that they can do year round. The weather obviously has a lot to do with it. The ability to play spring football. All of those things, although they seem small, when you add them all up, each one of them contributes to really good high school football, really good feeder systems relative to, colleges that are down here. And in particular, kids grow up wanting to play at the flagship school. And there's not a lot of state universities that have that.
You know what's interesting? That Brian Kelly's saying that, right, makes sense. And it's all things that we've talked about here. And it's all things that you, intellectually know, right? You can play spring football. It's why does college baseball rule in the South? Because there's still parts of the country that have snow on the field. LSU's been playing baseball outside since February. That you can have. Anyway, yes, all of those things that Brian Kelly said are true, and you and I know him. But when you have a guy who's born in Boston, has lived in the Midwest, been at Notre Dame, his whole coaching career in the Midwest, comes down here and validates it, it's more impactful when you hear it from that guy. And it's something that he got to see on the recruiting trail from time to time. But it's something that we also talk about. When Brian Kelly got here the first day, what was the first thing he did? He went to Catholic High and saw Emory Jones and Shelton Sampson 5 minutes from his campus. You get on a plane for 10 minutes and you're at Neville talking to Will Campbell and Zalance Hurd. You know what I mean? You take a car ride across town to Woodlawn to see Ricky Collins. I mean, that's the competitive advantage that you have here that he didn't have there. And it's just a guy who knows it and now a year plus in can explain it. They did also ask him about the accent thing.
And did you try to fake an accent to say family?
No, I mean, who would, that's the stupidest thing to try to do.
I think I would try to do that.
I would try to do it too. I would try to do it every single day.
Accent? Listen, when you have a Boston accent,
yeah,
and you're in the Midwest, and then you go down south, you're going to be all messed up anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have a bit of a strange accent anyway. So add another one. I think it's crazy anyway.
I've said it a million times. I was listening to it live. It's one of those things in my life where that you remember where you were when. I remember exactly where I was when. I was driving home. It was halftime of a basketball game. I'm driving home. I had Drew in the car with me. We were in the neighborhood, on the main street in our neighborhood, almost about to turn into the house. I'm listening to the speech on the radio. So I wasn't watching. I was listening to it. Listening to Brian Kelly say it. And when I heard him say it, it sounded like he got tripped up on a syllable and elongated it because he tripped up on the syllable. I don't think he was legitimately saying family. I think he just tripped up on a syllable, which happens from time to time. But people believe what they want to believe. What?
I just like how he called it the stupidest thing.
Well, it is a stupid thing.
It is, but he's like, that's just stupid. Why would anyone do that? That's stupid.
I mean, we're a year and a half later after that. I mean, that was November, December.
He's going to get asked about it all every time from here on out.
The surest way to stop getting asked about it is to win a national championship. Then the whole conversation.
You think they're just going to ask him on the stage after, Coach, when you first got here and you were trying to build to this moment and you faked an accent?
Are you looking forward to celebrating the championship with your family?
Yeah, they're doing it. They're bringing it up. Absolutely. It's going to happen.
There's no way. All right. Brian Kelly was on Bussin' with the Boys. A good conversation if you want to check it out. There, however you get your podcast. Let me knock out a break. Jeff Drummond, who covers Kentucky, is going to join us next to preview this baseball series. Don't you move.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Go to getgordon.com or follow Gordon on any of the social media platforms at Get Gordon. Of course, we've told you so much about all the NIL deals that Gordon's been doing, but also, of course, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys has been helping injured people in the state of Louisiana for more than 30 years. If you've been in an accident, it's not your fault. You need representation. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon, get it done. We're in April. You may not know this, but April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. And all this month, if you're following Gordon on social media, you're going to see how they're bringing awareness to this campaign, encouraging you, don't drive distracted, be safe when you're on the road, get where you got to go safely, and of course, get Gordon and get it done. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. We've been telling you about Gordon's grads as well. Going to be awarding 12 free laptops to recent high school grads. Learn more at gordonsgrads.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
The most valuable player probably that is the unsung hero through the entire playoffs, Zion Williamson. All my exes live in Texas. Texas girl from the Big H right here.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back.
Join us on Saturday, April 22nd.
At the Otter Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown, presented by Oshner.
Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
LSU and Kentucky game one. We're less than 2 hours away from first pitch out at the box. Our buddy Jeff Drummond from Cats Illustrated, good enough to join us, give us a little thumbnail preview here of the Kentucky Wildcats. Jeff, I always appreciate it, man. How are you?
Hey, doing all right. How are you doing today?
Man, doing really well. We saw the game notes come out, and initially Nick Mingione did not release a starting rotation. We know now who's going to go games 2 and 3. Any idea what they're going to do tonight for game one?
I have a feeling it's going to be a bit of a committee approach to that one. Still no definite on it, but we've seen them go several times this year where they'll have that so-called opener who works 2 or 3 innings, and then a guy that kind of has the meat of the sandwich, does 3 to 5 innings if he can in the middle to get to the end of their bullpen. So I would expect it to kind of go like that.
Okay.
This evening.
Zach Lee has started every weekend series so far this year. He's not one of the 3 listed. Do you expect him to get the ball tonight, or do you know if there's something going on there with him?
Not really sure. They've not been real direct about that situation. It's obviously, I don't think wanting to tip their hand completely with it, but I think in that last game that he pitched, there were some signs of a little bit of a velo drop and some other things like that. So maybe it's just precautionary as to how they'll handle him. Fortunately, for the first time in a long time, Kentucky has just a lot of pitching depth this year. That's something that's kind of been the Achilles heel of their team for the last 4 or 5 years. And they've got plenty of guys that they feel comfortable, sharing the ball with and getting the job done.
Jeff, Kentucky played a doubleheader last week, right? They were the Kentucky-Georgia series was the only one that went Friday, Saturday, Sunday on Easter weekend, for those that missed it. And they ended up playing a 7-inning doubleheader on Easter Sunday. And Georgia won that doubleheader. There's some talk here that because of rain on Saturday, they may end up playing a 9-inning doubleheader tomorrow, Friday. If Kentucky does have to shift and play a doubleheader, these teams play a doubleheader tomorrow. It's again hypothetical, but if they do, how does Kentucky fare? How do they line up if it does end up being a doubleheader this weekend?
Well, it was the worst case scenario for them at Georgia, which Georgia played well, not taking anything away from them. But the weakness of that team, as I understand it, is a really shaky bullpen. And the strength of Kentucky is a really strong bullpen. And you took that middle game away and then turned it into 2 7-inning games. You just saw a team that was pressing a lot in that one and never could get to their strength, which is jumping out ahead of people and then turning it over to the bullpen.
Tough to get ahead of LSU when Paul Skeens is on the mound. I mean, he's been probably the biggest story in college baseball this year. He's been incredible. So we know Kentucky's offense isn't they're not a power surge, right? They want to get them on, get them over, get them in. How does this lineup try to break through against a guy like Skeens who's been so dominant?
It's a good question. You could see at times, 5 guys in a row in that lineup lay down a bunt.
Oh, wow.
Just trying to get on base. Really, the strength of this bunch is get on any way you can, and once you're on, just cause havoc on the base paths. They're last in the league in home runs. I think they have 22. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think LSU has about 61.
Yeah, it's like a bajillion. Yeah, it's a lot.
A ridiculous disparity. But then you look at like stolen bases, it's 57 to 12 or something. And I know LSU probably doesn't need to steal bases the way they mash. But Kentucky has to play that way. They'll let pitches hit them. Sometimes they'll push it all the way to the line of throwing their body in there. That's backfired on them a little bit here lately. I think word is out across the league that they enjoy wearing it, as they call it.
Yeah.
And when you make a mistake, one thing that's been consistent, if you make an error in the field, wild pitch, balk, that kind of thing, Kentucky has really feasted on those and made people pay.
Jeff Drummond's our guest. He's on Twitter at @JDrumUK, Cats Illustrated editor there. With Kentucky, ranked 9th in the country, number 1 in the RPI, I think it's safe to say, though, Jeff, this is going to be their biggest challenge of the year. How much of the, let's just call it skepticism or questioning about Kentucky's legitimacy is fair considering the schedule they played so far?
There was a lot of it up until the point where they swept Missouri, and I think people had a lot of respect for Missouri and what they had done and some of the people they had beaten, and it went away up here.
Okay.
And then they go to Georgia and lose 2 out of 3. So I think people now are saying, okay, let's wait and kind of see what happens in Baton Rouge before getting over the top optimistic with this bunch. But, what they've done to this point is just take care of business and really barring a complete collapse down the stretch. And it would have to be an epic one. They probably put themselves in strong position to at least be in the tournament, if not hosting. But they've got to find a way. Kind of the general consensus up here is you got to win a game in this series at LSU. You can't get swept. You can feel pretty good about yourself if you get one down there, and then come home and you've got Texas A&M who's been struggling a little bit. You can kind of get your momentum headed in the right direction.
Hey, aside from, last thing for you, Jeff, we always appreciate you, man. Aside from like the obvious of saying, well, it'd be great if they go throw a no-hitter tonight. But like, if you look at a best case scenario for Kentucky, like if they're going to get this one tonight against Paul Skeens, like how does that play out?
Well, they've really done a good job at getting that first game in series and jumping out ahead of people. So this is a whole different kind of challenge, I think, though, for the guy compared to the guys they faced on the mound. So they may have to adjust some maybe early adversity and be in a position and coming from behind, which we haven't seen that a whole lot. We don't really know how they'll react to that. They didn't react to it well at Georgia, but one of the common denominators there, Georgia threw 3 left-handers at them, and that might be kind of the Achilles heel for Kentucky. I think all of LSU's starters are right-handed.
Correct.
This weekend, beyond that, I'm not sure what the lefty situation is there, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Tigers went to the lefties quite a bit in the middle parts of these games.
Well, there's not a whole slew of them in that LSU bullpen, at least that are available. So we'll earmark that. But when teams have broken through offensively against Kentucky, what has been the Achilles heel for the Kentucky pitching staff?
Well, I'm not really sure that I would pick one out so far. It's been just remarkably good to this point in the season. we've seen a couple of guys. Tyler Bosma can either be totally electric and dominant or very average. There doesn't seem to be any kind of middle ground going on with him. And he's scheduled to pitch the third game, so I'll be keeping a close eye on that. But the other guys have just been real super consistent, not overpowering. They don't rack up, a ton of strikeouts compared to some other rotation guys, but been efficient and got the job done.
It is LSU and Kentucky game 1 coming up a little more than 90 minutes from right now. He's Jeff Drummond from Cats Illustrated. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at JDrumUK if you want Kentucky news and notes, tidbits this weekend. Good guy to follow. Jeff, we appreciate you as always, man. Enjoy the baseball this weekend. We'll catch up soon down the line, all right?
All right, always a pleasure.
Thanks, man. We'll see you. That's Jeff Drummond. This is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Mold Zero USA. Mold-0USA.com. Mold-0USA.com. If you have mold, think you might have mold, or just other pathogens. If you have a building that just has a persistent odor that you can't get rid of, Mold Zero could be the ticket. I mean, whatever is causing that odor, whatever pathogens or bacteria might be causing that odor, Mold Zero can knock that out as well. Call Mold Zero. They got a 504 and a 225 number, but really they service all of South Louisiana. You can go to the website mold-zerousa.com, mold-zerousa.com. Talk to Jim Woodworth. They'll give you a quote, an estimate of what it would cost. You're going to save thousands compared to other remediation companies. Let him explain the process, how it works, why it's a better, safer, more efficient alternative. It's Mold Zero. Mold-zerousa.com. Mold-zerousa.com. All right, it is After Further Review. Muse, I know you're keeping an eye on it. Nothing yet from Kentucky on who they're going to start tonight?
I have not seen it, no. I'm waiting on lineups from both teams, actually.
The Zach Lee thing is interesting. I mean, he started in every weekend series.
Every one. 8 for 8. Yep.
Why wouldn't they
I don't know.
list him as a starter?
That's strange to me. It really is. I thought if they weren't going to list somebody, it would have been Logan Martin. Because he is coming back off injury, which is why he hadn't extended a lot.
And he's volleyed the Friday night.
Right. He was their Friday night guy to open the year, then had a non-arm injury that knocked him out of that role.
And there's an, who is it? I'm blanking.
Darren Williams. Is
that Williams, yes, thank you. And
he's
Williams,
a 7th-year pitcher, by the way.
Right.
Which is absurd.
Eastern Kentucky transfer.
Yes.
He started 3 times this year. I haven't seen a pitch. I can't tell you anything about a kid transferring in from Eastern Kentucky. But he has started for him, and he started game 1s for them as they've kind of alternated there. So I mean, I'm not super plugged into Kentucky to know exactly what Mingione's thinking there and how he's putting his rotation together. It kind of looks like, I don't know if you disagree with this, but a lot of people ask about, will teams pitch backwards against Skeens? This kind of feels like that.
It does to an extent, yeah. I mean, it really does to an extent for the first time. I think, their best hope in any game this week for me is to keep it close so they can't put pressure on LSU. If LSU gets out, you're not catching up to this team with small ball. Like, that's not happening. So,
for sure. But the thing that I would say that scares me this weekend for LSU is, it's games 2 and 3 where your starters don't throw strikes.
I know.
If Kentucky's whole objective is, you heard him say it. They'll bunt 5 guys in a row.
Isn't that so stupid?
It is stupid. Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to?
I didn't necessarily
You're talking a hashtag never bunt guy.
I know. But I didn't necessarily mean stupid in the sense that just like, that's just ridiculous.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
But don't put them on.
Right.
You want an inning to unravel? Put them on. The other thing that's interesting, too, though, is, I know we talked about it, but, and Leah Van asked Jay the question yesterday about the Milazzo-Brady Neal question. You want a catcher that's as good as anybody controlling another team's running game, put Alex Milazzo behind the dish.
Yeah.
Like, this could be a weekend where, let's see what Seven's got. Just file it away. We'll see. I don't know. I really genuinely don't know anything. The lineup's not posted yet. And if it is when it is, we'll talk about it. But just a few game within the game type thing. But I agree. Look, if LSU's surefire way to go win this series is just pummel the baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kentucky, I get it. They've got a good staff. But they have not faced anything like this. I mean, the RPI, yesterday you and I were talking about it after the show a bit, and like a lot of this stuff, I mean, they played Elon and Wright State and some of these teams. Like, I don't know what Elon and Wright State are doing right now. They beat Indiana.
Elon's leading their conference. I can tell you that.
Awesome.
So is Indiana State.
But that's how you end up where you are in the RPI. I mean, Will Wade was a master of this. He would schedule, Eastern. I remember one time he played East Tennessee State. He's like, well, I know they're going to win 27 games and win their league. And it's like, you're not going to get Kansas to schedule you. So if you need a scheduled team that's going to win 25 games, play East Tennessee State. To the computer, it looks like it's just still 27 wins. So I get it. But, man, coming to the box this weekend against this team, this offense, this whole thing, this might be a lot for Kentucky. Well, we'll see. It is by a mile their biggest test. And look at what's ahead. They got A&M next week at home. But after that, it's Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Florida, and South Carolina.
Yeah.
And not in that order. It's Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Tennessee, Florida. Like, good luck.
That's just so. Yeah, good luck to anybody, not just Kentucky. Like anybody who has to face that gauntlet. Good luck.
Well, it's the inverse. It's the inverse of what LSU had to do. LSU is front loaded and it lightens up to the end. Kentucky, it's just the inverse. They had a light early part of the schedule. Missouri, I think, is better than most people thought they would be. When they played Alabama, Alabama was ranked. They're not ranked anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're going to come down the stretch and have to face Tennessee and Vanderbilt and Florida and South Carolina, who's better than a lot of people thought. Now, that South Carolina series is in Lexington. Right? That is in Lexington. I thought I had that right. Yes, that's in Lexington. I mean, playing in that matchbox of a ballpark in Columbia against that team is a greater challenge than having them go on the road. But, man, about to find out all you need to know about Kentucky these next couple weeks. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. If you want to join us, you can. Email us, tweet us at Matt Moscona, jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Kendall Rogers in about 45 minutes from right now. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by EXP Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place, agent225.com, agent225.com. When you go to the website, you go to Darren's website at agent225.com. One of the things you're going to see almost immediately when you scroll down, of course, you'll see every home listed by every company all in one place. You'll see Darren and his team and all that stuff. But they have this graphic. It's the proven performance. It's the numbers, right? Top 1,000 realtors in America. Over 6,000 families served. The number one team in Louisiana with eXp Realty. When you look at Darren's own, his own personal accolades, it's incredible. But I don't know that necessarily trophies and banners and plaques are what's going to be appealing to you. Ultimately, what Darren does is he takes a very stressful situation, makes it stress-free, and gets results. So call Darren James. Get your home sold.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TB to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's
gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back.
Join us on Saturday, April 22nd
at the Otter Medical Complex at the Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and Joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown presented by Otter.
Saturday, April 22nd at lunch.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. Every $5 donation earns an entry into our raffle. Raffle items this year including an Aaron and Austin Nola autographed bat, ball, and picture. You get Justin Jefferson autographed LSU helmet, Jamar Chase framed wall print. You can donate today at 1045ESPN.com. The Dreams Come True Radiothon is presented today by the Baton Rouge Men's Clinic, Patient Plus, and Louisiana Federal Land Bank.
Congrats to the LSU gymnastics team. They have advanced to the national finals. LSU's headed to 4 on the floor. Regionals day. I tell you what, Dallas-Fort Worth has been good to LSU here in the past couple weeks. Of course, Kim Mulkey's squad won the national championship there in Dallas a couple of Sundays ago. And today in Fort Worth at the regional finals, LSU did advance to 4 on the floor. So the Final Four will be coming up this weekend, and LSU's in it. So congrats, Haley Bryant. Another not even her best day, but still. And the meet started at 2 o'clock, so they were finishing the last 2 rotations while we were here in our first hour. So we're kind of keeping an eye on it. I wasn't able to lock in on everything, but pull that back up, please, Paul, if you would. The LSU with a 197.4750 advances. Florida right behind LSU. Cal and Denver were eliminated. So, again, the top 4 teams go to 4 on the floor. So, LSU and Florida. So, the top 4 overall. So, the top 2 from each regional. So, LSU and Florida advance to 4 on the floor. It would be something. It would be something if LSU could go get this done. Just a couple of weeks after the women's basketball team, of course, won the national championship, if gymnastics could do it. And look, gymnastics is strange because it doesn't really matter what you've done all year. You're going to look for what your cumulative score can be on that given day. And no matter what your score is, if someone just has a better day than you, there's nothing you could do to beat your opponent other than just have your best meet. So you feel like eventually it's going to happen for Jay Clark's squad. You know, he was a giant part of all those championships at Georgia, where he was really the guy recruiting all that talent to Georgia when they won like 4 straight national championships in the early 2000s. Of course, got him to Baton Rouge. It's his show now, and all the talent that's come through here over the last decade is because Jay Clark's brought it here. So, when he was on staff at D.D. Bro, he was the one bringing the talent here. And ultimately, he was co-head coach. Now he's the head coach, and he's the one who's brought the talent here. So, Haley Bryant's as good as LSU has ever had, and may very well, when she leaves LSU, go down as the greatest gymnast in this program's history, which is a mouthful considering some of the all-time greats from Susan Jackson and Ashley Claire Kearney to, even recently, when you look at Ashley Nat and Sarah Finnegan, I mean, some all-time greats. Like some of the great, like this decade stretch, we've seen the greatest gymnasts to ever come through this program, and Haley Bryant may be better than all of them. So enjoy her while you can. Tigers are off to the national finals, the gymnastics team, so we'll be rooting them on. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Quick note on the Saints draft in a second. Let me remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020. It popped up on my Instagram stories just yesterday. I was follow the Williamson Eye Center, and Dr. Blake was doing a video where he was walking out of the OR on a surgery day and talking about surgery, and it just reminded me of my LASIK experience. And when I finished LASIK, which was such an easy process, they sit you up on the table and there's a clock across the room, and I could see the numbers on the clock. And you see videos like that all the time, and you'll see some people get emotional. They'll break down and cry because when you go for years or decades without being able to see, and then you can see, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here, but it's almost like a miracle. So, man, if you wear contacts or glasses, if you've got refractive issues, God, just go. I can't stress it. Just go for that consultation. Change your life, man. It doesn't have to be where you're reaching for glasses and shoving contacts in your eyes. And there's a way, man. It's affordable. They're great people at the Williamson Eye Center. They're the best. 70 years, 3 generations. It's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. Okay, it's After Further Review. Oh, we shared this with you yesterday. Fantastic news. 2 weeks from today, first round of the NFL Draft, we are live for our draft party and our draft party companion show from Don Juan Cigar Bar. Our coverage is presented by Rouse's, but we will be at Don Juan 2 weeks from today. Waiting on confirmation for all of our staff is obviously invited to attend and participate. Don't know who will make it, who won't make it. We'll see. But I'll be there. Hunt's confirmed to be there. Waiting to hear from T-Bob and Hester, Hanny, Ott, the whole crew. Muse was there last year as well. So y'all make plans. If you're looking for something to do for the first round of the draft, Thursday the 27th, we will be at Don Juan Cigar Bar in Town Center. So it was an awesome time last year. They'll have drink specials. They do have limited food items as well, limited food menu at Don Juan. So make plans to join us for the first round of the NFL Draft 2 weeks from today at Don Juan Cigar Bar. We'll see what the Saints do with their first round pick at 29. ESPN has kind of done this feature where it's what's the best case scenario for every team in the draft. And for the Saints at 29, they kind of looked at their top 2 picks. What do you do at 29 and 40? And it's add a pass rusher and find an offensive weapon. And when you look at the mock drafts, that's kind of what has been narrowed and zeroed in. The Saints, in fortifying both lines of scrimmage, that really has got to be the primary objective going into the start of this draft. You lost 4 players across your defensive front. You need to add bodies there, and not just bodies, but starting caliber players. You've signed 2 in free agency. You need to add more. And I know they said an edge rusher to replace Marcus Davenport, but I actually look at defensive end and I say, okay, you've still got Cam Jordan. You got Carl Granderson, who's been a productive player for you. You've got Tano Passanio. And, of course, you got Peyton Turner, a guy who used a first-round pick on 2 years ago. It's time to get something out of him, and he sounds like he's ready to be that guy, and hopefully he is. But your numbers there are okay. You don't even have numbers at defensive tackle. You have got to address that position with certainly 1, if not 2 picks in this draft to fortify that interior defensive line. I'll keep saying it. I'm not going to say I don't care. I'm not super bullish on one guy at that position at 29. If we were talking about a top 5, top 10 pick, and you had a chance to get Jalen Carter, no brainer, right? But when you're picking at 29, there's a cluster of 5 or 6 players that in any given mock draft, you see them mocking that player to the Saints, one of those players to the Saints. And whoever that may be, I'm going to be good with it if the Saints at 29 take a defensive tackle, and at 40, it's best player available. Maybe it's a running back, maybe it's a receiver, maybe it's a tight end, Maybe it's an offensive lineman who falls and they get great value there. Maybe it's an edge player. I'm good. I'm going to be good with it as long as they address interior defensive line there at the top of the draft. Okay. If you got feelings, comments, concerns, questions, fire away. You know how to get us. Email us, tweet us, jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. By the way, the text line it's an app on my phone, and I have it available 24/7, 365. So people text me all the time on that number, not just during the show. So feel free to use it. It's what it's there for. Love to interact. 396-4400. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back. Muse will have Tigers and the Pros. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. More than 60 Rouse's locations all over the Gulf South. You can find the location nearest you at rouses.com, but chances are you know where the nearest Rouse's to you is. Just go to rouses.com to find it. It's Rouse's where they always have amazing deals going on. How about this? Rouse's is running a 99-cent grocery sale through the 19th. So you get 6 more days on this, but it's a couple of dozen items that are all 99 cents, like a 4-pack of King's Hawaiian rolls for 99 cents. They've got trial or travel size products for 99 cents. I mean, handicap fries and Rouse's bottled water, sparkling mineral water, Turkey Hill tea, Greek yogurt, 100 calories. Like, they got that's a million things for 99 cents. It's the 99-cent grocery sale. It's at Rouse's. Learn more online at rouses.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A Louisiana state trooper busted for doctor shopping, given a break by the State Police Commission today. They voted to cut his suspension in half after he got implicated in the scheme. That trooper appealing his suspension on a technicality, and some of his own co-workers believe he should have been arrested. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Otter.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office.
After further review with Matt Moscona, Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. By the way, the gymnastics finals Saturday at 3 o'clock Central. They're in Fort Worth. So if you missed it earlier, the LSU women's gymnastics teams did advance out of the regional finals. They and Florida make up one half of the bracket. The semifinals continue tonight at 8 o'clock Central, where the other two teams will punch their ticket. But LSU is in the 4 on the floor. So the finals will be Saturday at 3 o'clock Central time. LSU is going to go for another national championship in women's sports. See if they can get it. All right, it's after further review. Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
I think Alex Bregman's got his swagger back a little bit early in the season here. Tough start. Last night, got off the schneid with a big night, including a homer. And he followed it up with another big night and another home run. That's 2 straight games for Bregman. 1 for 3, a 2-run shot in the 7th. Scored a run, drove in 3, walked twice as well. Average on a steady climb for Alex Bregman. A little LSU on LSU action last night in Toronto. Kevin Gausman on the bump for the Jays, making his 3rd start. Fired 8 innings, gave up 5 hits, 3 earned, didn't walk anybody, and struck out 11. Kevin Gausman already top 5 in Major League Baseball in strikeouts through 3 starts, 1.35 ERA. Alex Lang was on the bump last night in relief for Detroit, got a hold, his first hold of the season. It was a scoreless, a perfect inning for Alex Lang with 2 strikeouts, 12 pitches, 8 of them across the white for strikes. Minor League Baseball, AAA, they're starting to get underway. Andrew Stevenson, of course, he's in the Twins organization now, with the St. Paul Saints, went 2 for 5 at the top of their order, 2 RBI. His first home run of the season, a 2-run shot. He would score a run as well. Landon Marceau in AA for the Angels, the Trash Pandas.
Oh,
yeah,
the Trash
we like it.
Pandas.
So good.
It's been a minute since we talked about the Trash Pandas.
It's been a minute. One of the best logos you'll see in minor league baseball as well. Great season debut for Landon Marceau. 5 innings, scattered 6 hits, an earned run. He walked 1 and struck out 2. Got a no decision in the game. Their closer blew it, is kind of what happened. Yeah. Matt, I have something that you're going to like here. Actually, an awful lot. So today, I was compiling where everyone was playing in minor league baseball. I went through so many minor league baseball rosters, more than I care to admit.
Got it.
Just about all of them.
Awesome.
And I discovered where Paul Gervais is.
Oh!
He was drafted by the Mets, if you might remember.
Oh!
Paul Gervais, member of the Brooklyn Cyclones. It's back after a year hiatus.
Hey!
You know, we were talking about having to just adopt a random Cyclones player.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that anymore.
We were talking about looking at the roster.
And Paul Gervais is there.
Yeah! Let's go, Paul! And I forbid him from pitching well enough to advance out of, what is it, AA?
AA, yeah.
I forbid you from pitching well enough to advance out of AA.
Or high A, excuse me, high A. That's
I
high A.
forbid
High
you
A.
from pitching well enough to advance out of high A, Paul Gervais. You were stuck there all year.
Just let that breathe while we tell you Sam Burns
you remember
is 2
what we
under
used
today.
to do, though?
Yeah?
I used to stand on the chair.
Yeah.
But it was the twisty chair.
It was.
And this chair don't twist.
No.
Reggie Chapman, where are you, bro?
Yeah. We need to clip this and tag Reggie in it.
I'm not going to lie to you. I do have a little bit of a quad injury. You know, so trying to get down low and do the cyclone is a little hard, you know. But I mean, I might be able to give you like a little hip turn.
It's okay, Matt. You can dance when you feel like Matt again. Sam Burns was 2 under par at the RBC Heritage. Ben Taylor was 4 over par at the RBC Heritage. And just to really get Matt going, on the Corn Ferry Tour, Curtis Thompson shot 2 under par. No, he did not go to Catholic High.
Honorary.
That's Tigers in the pros.
Honorary Catholic High for Curtis Thompson. Paul Gervais.
Saved the day, Paul Gervais.
That is, you know what? That's been the best part of my day today. That news right there. Best part of my day. Yeah, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. That's right. Tigers and the Pros. This is brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Amazing people over there. Check them out online. LMFJ.com. Gentlemen, if you're thinking to pop the question, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. Hour 3, next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. You know you can always get to the website. You want to schedule service? ShawbillsTire.com. Need an oil change? ShawbillsTire.com. Need your tires rotated, your brakes are squeaking, windshield wipers changed, whatever you need, ShawbillsTire.com. Just go to the website. There's a schedule service tab right there on the homepage. Tap it, select the location nearest you, and fill out a little info, and boom, you're scheduled. It's at ShawbillsTire.com. And if you'd rather do it, they've got a little text bubble. They make this so easy. You can call them. You can do it online. Go to the website. There's a little text widget. Just hit the text widget, select the location nearest you, and boom, in seconds, you're chatting with an associate over at Shawbills. It's Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, home of the Charlie's Dozen, a dozen benefits extended to you and every vehicle in your family when you buy your tires at Shawbills. So why in the world would you buy them anywhere else? ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $2,000 off MSRP, plus 2.9% APR for 84 months on new 22 Ford Expeditions. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back.
Join us on Saturday, April 22nd.
At the Otter Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown, presented by Oshner.
Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Otter.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Is
sports. I'm Kevin Winter. Baseball history this afternoon in St. Petersburg.
There's a swing and a high drive into right center field. This should do it. To his left, Manuel Margot is there. Would you believe 13-0 to start the year? The Tampa Bay Rays have swept the Boston Red Sox 4 in a row, and they tie a major league record by starting the new season 13 wins in a row.
Andy Freed with the call. WDAE. The Rays' 9-3 win over the Red Sox means they are now the third team in the modern era of baseball to start a season 13-0. Tampa gets it done thanks to a 7-run fifth. They now join the 1987 Milwaukee Brewers, the 1982 Atlanta Braves as the only team since 1900 to win each of their first 13 games. Also today, Adley Rutschman, solo shot, bottom of the ninth. Orioles walk off the A's 8-7. Story we've been following on SportsCenter from ESPN's Adam Schefter. Washington Commanders owner Dan and Tanya Snyder have reached a preliminary agreement to sell the team to a group led by Josh Harris, who co-owns the 76ers and the Devils. The sale price, $6.05 billion. The deal is non-exclusive, fully financed. However, it is not signed yet.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock, quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us, and we are 1 hour away from first pitch. LSU, Kentucky, game 1, 6 o'clock. This one is on the SEC network. You say the Brian Kelly family?
That's your family.
What did I
right
just
there.
say? I said network.
Yep.
You don't think I know how to say network?
God, why are you faking an accent?
You think I'm faking an accent? You don't want to say network? I tripped on a word. It happens to every human all the time, like at some point. Anyway, that's what I'm telling you. I stand by it. That's what happened to Brian Kelly. It is on the SEC network, or you can listen on Eagle 98.1. Lineup is posted. Let's run through it real quick. Kendall Rogers in 12 minutes, and I got some Pelican stuff I want to talk about here in a second. But all right, here's how they'll line it up. Much of this you know, but pull that down for a second, Paulie. One of the things Jay Johnson was asked about yesterday, hat tip Leah Van. We talked about this yesterday, but Leah Van did ask Jay Johnson if there would be more of an opportunity for Alex Milazzo behind the plate. Here's what Jay Johnson said on Wednesday.
He was going to probably start the second game of the doubleheader at South Carolina. We just didn't play, and I couldn't be happier with both those guys. Again, I look at the game differently than a lot of people. It's like, what do we need to do to win? I think balance and having left-handed and right-handed hitters is really important and make it difficult on the pitching staff. And batting average is one number. I mean, the guy hit game-tying home runs against Arkansas and Tennessee and has over 20 walks and an on-base percentage over 440. That being said, Alex is playing great. They're both playing good. They're both going to play a lot the rest of the year. If it's a question of, maybe is there more time for him? I've never not thought of him as a starter too. So I guess the answer is yes. But like I said, I'm very, very happy with both those guys.
They've both been great. Both are warranted. Both have warranted playing time. That goes without saying. If you're playing Neal, understanding Milazzo was the better defender, Neal was a very good defender, but better offensive option. I get it. A year ago, Milazzo was hurt, but the question was, the other catchers were a total defensive liability, and that is a premium defensive position. So you would sacrifice a bat for a premium defender at a premium position, right? An elite defender at a premium position. So it's a different conversation when you have Neal, who is a very good defensive catcher. Milazzo's a tick better. I think that's fair to say. We would probably agree on that defensively. And if Neal was giving you offense, great. Milazzo's hit better. I mean, he's just been better offensively. So smaller sample size. And lo and behold, Milazzo is getting a start tonight. And a big part of this isn't just offensive. You have got to consider Kentucky, their ability to pressure a defense because they lead. We've talked about it all week. They lead the SEC in stolen bases, in sacrifice bunts. We had Jeff Drummond with us last hour. I didn't even realize this. He says there's times Kentucky will lay down 5 bunts in a row. They'll have 5. They're just trying to get on, get over, get in. So they're going to put a lot of pressure on your defense. If you have a catcher that's elite and can control the opponent's running game, I want him in the lineup, and that's Milazzo. So this weekend, it does make a lot of sense. I'm not saying Milazzo supplanted Brady Neal as a starter. Please don't misunderstand me. But this weekend, it makes sense. He's been a good offensive guy for you. He's a better defensive option, and you're playing a team that puts a ton of pressure on you defensively. So if I have a catcher that can control the running game, I want him in there, and that's Milazzo. Like, even if Milazzo wasn't hitting, this probably would be a weekend where you go, yeah, I want him in there this weekend. Anyway, so here's how they're going to line it up. Dugas, Morgan, Cruz. Morgan in left field, by the way. So Dugas at second, Morgan in left, Cruz in center, of course. Tommy White will play third and bat cleanup. Cade Beloso will bat fifth and DH. Jared Jones is back at first base. He'll bat sixth. Braden Jobert, of course, he's in the lineup. He's been on a torrid pace of late. Jobert's in right field, batting seventh. Jordan Thompson playing short, batting eighth. God, what a luxury to have Jordan Thompson in your eighth. Jordan Thompson.
The kid who just hit the ball like 500 feet at Tulane, your 8-hole shortstop. Yeah, him.
I know there was
that guy.
I know that, and so Milazzo will catch him bat ninth. There was no track man because they were on the road. Did you see if there were any estimates on that?
I didn't, but that thing had to be well over 400. It went over there. It went over everything.
If you didn't see the Thompson's home run on Tuesday night, go to the LSU Twitter or any of the LSU social media. They've got a video. We could show it here, Paulie, if you want to pull up this video. Here, I'll scroll it back for you. But it was a hanging breaking ball, and he just hit the dog poo out of it. I mean, out of sight. I mean, he hit it. So it's 367 at the scoreboard at that point at Turchin, and he cleared the scoreboard. So I mean, he hit it 400 feet easily. God, he was a bomb. I'd have loved to have seen TrackMan data on that. But anyway, what a luxury. Jordan Thompson. Your 8-hole
hitter. Your standard, everyday, run-of-the-mill 8-hole guy hitting over 300.
Oh, man. They're fun. So, anyway, that's how LSU line up. Muse, I'm sorry, jump in here because we didn't know who Kentucky was going to start. We've mentioned, so their games 2 and 3 starters have already been named. You and I kind of thought that Zach Lee, who started every weekend series for this Kentucky team, not in that Friday role, or that game 1 role, that he would be the guy, but he's not. So who are they going with?
They're going to go with righty transfer from Missouri, Zach Heise. It'll be his first start of the year, Matt. He has made 7 appearances all out of the bullpen. Sub-2 ERA, only 9 1/3 innings.
Okay, that was my question.
So it's going to be an opener role for him. Yeah. Righty, for what it's worth as well.
Okay. So that's kind of what Jeff was talking about with this last hour, that they were probably just going to get someone to sort of push off from the dock and then get to the strength of this Kentucky team, which would be their bullpen. So I don't know. So do you see his longest outing of the year? So you said 9 outings or 9 innings?
9 1/3 innings, 7 appearances. I can get to it. I just have to get their roster back up. 1 second.
No, I mean, well, it can't be more than 2 innings.
Yeah, it's not much, but that's kind of the thing. He's been more to the back end of a guy at the back end. He does have a save on the year and everything of that nature. His longest outing is 2 innings on the year.
Okay.
Twice.
So he's going to come out and be a max effort guy to try to get him 3 or 6 outs if they can get 6, and then hand it to the next guy and see if you can scratch anything across against Paul Skeens. Okay, not a terrible approach, and you save your other arms for tomorrow, which I wouldn't be surprised, considering the forecast on Saturday, if we look at a doubleheader on Friday.
Yeah, Saturday looks like a mess.
So if that's the case, schedule the double. Tomorrow's beautiful. Friday's going to be beautiful. So I don't. LSU hasn't announced anything on this yet, but it stands to reason that you would play a doubleheader on Friday to avoid the mess on Saturday, the start nature. And if you did, and you can't push it to Sunday. So if you have a window to play two tomorrow, that may be ultimately what they do. And so maybe that's what Kentucky is thinking. Just save all of your arms to get through 18 innings in a day and get through today however you can. Because quite honestly, it's probably not going to go well against Paul Skeens. So first pitch, 50 minutes from right now. Okay. It is after further review. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. 29 offices across 11 different states. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Hey, I want you to do this. If, maybe post-COVID, you lost your job, or maybe just in the last couple of years, you've thought about a career change, as so many people have. Michelli is a great local business, a family-owned and operated business that's grown sea to shining sea. They're hiring, and it's not, just a job. If you're thinking career, think about Michelli. Go to Michelli.com, hit the careers tab. You can see all the jobs that they have, and it's not just jobs at their New Orleans or Baton Rouge offices, anywhere in the country. I mean, maybe you're looking to relocate, or maybe you're listening to us in another part of the country. It's so worth checking out. A great company that's been around for 76 years, wants to be around for 76 more, locally owned and operated, with great benefits and work in an amazing atmosphere. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They've got an incredible veteran employment program as well, working with the Department of Defense to transition veterans. You can see the veteran career page there as well, how they help transition veterans from their military career into civilian life. It's an awesome opportunity. Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, is good enough to join us every Thursday here on AFR in hour number 3. So we'll talk LSU, Kentucky. We'll talk about the rest of the big series across the Southeastern Conference and the country coming up this weekend. So we're excited to have Kendall, as always. Pelican season came to a close last night as they lost in the play-in with a thud. If you missed it, we opened the show with my thoughts not only on that, but the Zion dunk and everything. Andrew Lopez was here in hour number 1 as well, so you can always catch that on demand, 1045ESPN.com, or the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel, AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org. Okay, Kendall Rogers, when we return, it's AFR.
AFR.
All right, y'all, we told you tomorrow's going to be gorgeous. So, tomorrow, great opportunity to get in the garden and just plant something. Go see our friends at Clegg's Nursery. I would always encourage you as well, follow Clegg's on their social media. If you're on Facebook, go follow the Clegg's Nursery page, because one of the things that they do exceptionally well is they post their weekly ads there on their Facebook page. So you can see what specials they may have, if it's Peggy Martin roses, if it's specific, if it's hydrangeas, if it's a specific flower or plant that you're looking for, if they've got them, when they have them in stock. You can see pictures of their selection they have in stock at all the locations. So make sure you're following Clegg's on all their social media. If you're looking to get in the garden, just plant something. Not sure what to plant, it's fine. They have so much more than just flowers and plants and trees and shrubs. They got the Myers soap products as well, and so many other great products. Check them out. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals.
But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
43 minutes from first pitch, LSU and Kentucky game one. We'll see Paul Skeens on the bump. Hopefully, thankfully, weather has moved out of the area. No lightning to disrupt an outing. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, joins us here on Thursdays. Thrilled to have him back. How are you, dude?
I'm doing outstanding. What about you?
Man, doing really well. Excited about this weekend. It feels very much like a prove-it weekend for Kentucky. Do you feel the same way that while Kentucky's numbers look really good, this is the biggest challenge they're going to have faced so far?
Yeah, I mean, not even close. I mean, you looked at last weekend against Georgia as a test just because they were going on the road, and they didn't handle that very well. So, yeah, it's not going to get much easier, I don't think, against LSU. And I think the other thing about Kentucky is you're to a point now where if you look at Kentucky's remaining schedule, it is slightly difficult. I mean, they still have to play Vanderbilt, Florida, A&M, Tennessee. The list kind of goes on. So, yeah, it's not going to get much easier.
I do want to ask you about LSU
Sure.
Because in your poll this week at D1 Baseball, you have LSU number one. They are consensus number one in the country, but they're coming off a weekend where obviously Thatcher Hurd is out of the rotation. Ty Floyd struggled again. They lost game one with Paul Skeens on the mound. We understand weather was a condition. Can you walk us through what the conversations were like about keeping LSU at number one, despite some of the injuries and some of the chinks in the armor we've seen of late?
Yeah, I mean, you could honestly make a really strong argument for somebody like Wake Forest or, somebody like Florida. I mean, if you really look at the two teams right now, I mean, you could theoretically look at Florida and go, you know what, I probably feel a little bit better about them just because of their pitching situation. But I just believe in LSU's lineup. I just think this offense is a tick above everybody else. I think, having Paul at the front of that rotation just means a lot to me. And I do feel like even though LSU has been inconsistent in the week rotation, I feel like they have enough arms. And crazy enough, even without, Chase Shores or Garrett Edwards, I feel like they have enough arms that you can still feel pretty, confident about this club the second half of the season. So, you can make a strong argument for Florida or Wake Forest. But, it's not like Wake Forest doesn't have their own set of injuries, too. They lost Teddy McGraw coming this season. Nick Kurtz, their All-American first baseman, out with an injury right now. So they're dealing with some injuries, too. But my take on LSU is until they show me that they can't win, like they are, then they should, probably stay at number one.
I'd say it often, Kendall. Sometimes here it's hard to see the forest through the trees. When you pull back and you can see the big picture and where LSU is in the landscape relative to everyone else, some of that makes sense. That's why your perspective is a great one. I
kind of look back at, to make a football analogy, I kind of think back to the year. What was the score that year that Alabama or LSU beat Alabama? And it was like 9-6 or something like that?
9-6, yeah.
It was ugly as heck, but you still won the game. And that's kind of how I view LSU baseball right now. Yeah, it may be ugly at times on the mound, but guess what? Baseball is all about wins and losses, and they're still winning games.
I do want to ask you about Floyd and Hurd as well. Do you see a path for those guys to get back on track?
The stuff says yes. I mean, if you look at Thatcher Hurd, I'll just start with him. I've kind of gone through this whole analysis a million times, but I mean, the breaking ball is real. The spin rate is real. And, he can get off track really easily, but it's all there for him. It's just a matter of, can Wes Johnson kind of find that one little thing or that one little mechanical tweak that kind of gets everything back on track? I look at, Ty Floyd in the same way. I mean, there's some innings he pitches and you're like, oh, here we go. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, we're going down this roller coaster now. So, I think for both those guys, it's finding out, hey, what is getting these guys offline, and what do we have to do to get them back on? And I believe in Wes Johnson's ability to find those out because both those guys are supremely talented. And so I think they'll figure it out in due time.
Kendall Rogers is with us. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you should. He's at Kendall Rogers and, of course, D1Baseball.com. We're right in the middle of conference play. Great time to subscribe up. Two other SEC weekends I'd love to talk about. Vandy, South Carolina is fascinating. We got to watch South Carolina last week, and they certainly look different in that park. Does South Carolina's offense travel to Hawkins Field and specifically against that Vanderbilt pitching staff?
Well, it certainly helps if Carter Holton can't go this weekend. I'll be interested to see if he ends up starting this weekend. The Vandy ace is listed as 50-50 for the weekend. So We'll see if he pitches. But I'll tell you what, if he's in Petrie and hit a bomb off of Paul Skeens and he can hit a grand slam the way he did with that inside pitch on the bottom part of the corner, he can hit a bomb off anybody. So, number one, I'm a full believer in Ethan Petrie. I think South Carolina is really good. But I think the big thing when I look at Vanderbilt is when I saw those guys opening weekend, I was not a believer in the offense. I really liked R.J. Austin. I liked, a couple other guys in the lineup. But for the most part, I was like, man, I don't know if these guys are going to hit all that much. And now as we sit here, a few weeks in conference play, they're hitting 337 in league, and R.J. Schreck, the Duke transfer, is hitting over 400 in league play. So they've really gotten all the pieces together offensively. That's been the big key for them. But I actually think this series is going to be pretty offensive. I think South Carolina can really hit.
Okay. The other one is Tennessee, Arkansas, and the big news, of course, is that Tony Vitello is shaking up his pitching rotation. Is it panic button time there in Knoxville?
I feel like if you don't have Chase Dollander, Chase Burns, and Drew Beam at all in your weekend rotation, yeah, you're probably pressing the panic button. Or maybe it's just a motivational thing. I'm actually not a believer in that. I think kids like us can kind of see right through that if you're trying to use that as a motivational tactic and going, hey, we're not going to put you in the weekend rotation. We're trying to motivate you. I just feel like kids see right through that. But, I don't know what he's trying to do. I confirmed today there's no injury issues in any of those three guys. So what I just kind of wonder is if they're just going to start things off with Andrew Lindsay and then go from there and just see how they want to piece things together. So it's a little bit of an odd tactic, but I think at this point, I think Tony Vitello realizes that, hey, with this much talent, you don't get teams very often with that much talent in your weekend rotation. And I think he looks at this team at this point as like, hey, we've got to press every single button we possibly can because that talent doesn't walk through the door every single year. And that's what it looks like to me.
Tennessee's 5-7 in league play through 4 weekends.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
I know, man. Kendall, it's an illustration of why last year was such an outlier. Many people might have just assumed they would just rinse and repeat. It doesn't happen like that. They blew an incredible opportunity. One of the most talented teams we've ever seen last year.
So good.
I know. Well, I'm very glad.
I know everybody in Baton Rouge is so sad.
I'm very glad to see them blow that opportunity a year ago. Hey, at the front page of D1 Baseball right now, it's your column on Arizona State. I'm sure you'll be keeping an eye there this weekend. I always like to ask, what are the other big storylines, weekends, talking points, series that you're going to be keeping an eye on this weekend?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go out west real quick. I mean, I think the Pac-12 was really interesting. I mean, this is the league that I feel like we struggle sometimes to find like a fifth team that's like regional worthy. And I think the Pac-12 right now, Matt, is frankly like 7 or 8 teams regional worthy. Now, they're obviously not going to get that many teams in, but I mean, they've got 7 or 8 clubs that I look at right now and I go, hey, you know what? I could see those teams getting into regional and actually beating some teams. And so I think the Pac-12 really stands out to me. I think, when you go across the country and look in the Big 12, I mean, that is kind of a jumbled mess. Like, I think Texas is good. I don't think Texas is great. Oklahoma State has some issues on the mound. TCU is like you basically just flip a coin every weekend to find out how good those guys are. So I think those are the 2 things that stand out to me. And I think in the SEC, I look at, that series with Missouri and A&M with some intrigue as well. And Mississippi State and Ole Miss. I think when you look at A&M and Missouri, that's a pecking order series. Last weekend, A&M got a series win over Auburn. They jumped them in the pecking order. Now you have Missouri and A&M for pecking order position. And then in Super Bulldog weekend, I'll give Mississippi State fans credit. They've sold 21,000 tickets, and their team is like near the bottom of the conference. Like that gets a golf clap from me because that's pretty impressive. And so you're talking about, one team that's won 3 games, the other team's won 2 games. I mean, I know I've said this like every single week that I come on here, but the loser of this series really and truly is pretty much done. I mean, I just don't see a pathway. If let's say you're Ole Miss and you've got 3 wins going down the back half of the schedule, I just don't see your pathway to making the postseason.
Yeah. LSU's in Oxford next weekend. Would love to deliver a knockout blow to the Rebs if they had the opportunity. They are going to honor Ron Polk, though, this weekend in Starkville. They're going to unveil a statue of the Mississippi State coach. So something part of their history, I guess, to celebrate this weekend. Certainly not the present. He is Kendall Rogers, D1Baseball.com, on Twitter at Kendall Rogers. Y'all give him a follow. Thanks as always, man. We appreciate you.
You got it, brother. Have a good weekend.
Right, man.
Thank you.
You do the same. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Of course, 2 things got to tell you about as we get past the spring break, Easter weekend, start looking into next weekend. Baseball and all the spring sports are in full swing. But remember, at Traction, it's always season for your young athlete to better themselves, no matter their sport. Literally, it doesn't matter if it's baseball or basketball or football or swimming or track. It doesn't matter. Whatever sport, if they want to be the best, Traction gets them there. There's speed and strength and performance training, and there is skill training for that specific sport as well. Say it all the time. It's where the pros train. Like this morning, I was working out at Traction. Ethan Posic's in there. All the NFL guys are in there right now. Damone Clark and Micah Baskerville and Andre Anthony's in there. Todd Harris is in there getting ready for the draft as well. You see all these NFL guys working out right now, and you think about it, man, if your son plays high school football or youth league football, you want to get better, the same place, the same facilities, the same trainers that are working with those guys will be working with your son. So they've got membership opportunities where you can have unlimited training sessions over the course of the month, and it's incredibly affordable. Learn more at TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Okay. Appreciate Kendall Rogers, as always, for jumping aboard with us here. It's been a good show. We opened up talking about the Pels. Their season came to an end with a thud last night to OKC. Not surprised. I mean, I picked the Pels to win the game last night. I thought they would. But I thought they would lose at Minnesota on Friday. So the fact that they lost the game isn't really what jarred me emotionally. It was watching Zion pregame. And that's the thing that I think should have most. I'm sitting here in studio and PTI is on, and there's Wilbon and Kornheiser. Literally just a minute ago when Kendall was talking, they're debating what the Pels should do with Zion, and that is the national talking point surrounding not only this team but one of the national talking points this offseason in the NBA, because you have this superstar player who, when we saw this Pelicans team whole, they were incredible. And he's declared healthy but isn't on the floor. It is fair to ask the question, why not? Why aren't you out there with your team? And maybe he's not whole, maybe he's limited, but it's fair to ask the question. And that should be a giant question and a point of contention right now in this entire offseason for the New Orleans Pelicans. You can catch any of our on-demand audio there at 1045ESPN.com or the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you. Do us a favor, as always, smash that like button and subscribe up to the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. That's where all of our shows live, our live broadcast daily, and then, of course, our specialty shows like Scone and Tea, Whiskey and Wine. Our Draft Day companion show 2 weeks from today will be on the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. So thanks for being there, and please subscribe up to the channel if you can. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll run through one final look ahead to LSU and Kentucky as we're 30 minutes away from first pitch. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by New Orleans Flooring. You can always get to NOLAflooring.com. That's NOLAflooring.com. I always say buy where the pros buy. If you're an installer, if you're a home builder, if you're a remodeler, investors, property flippers, property managers, remediation companies, they all shop at New Orleans Flooring. Why? Because they can get the same flooring at about a 40% discount, because at New Orleans Flooring, they keep their inventory in stock so they can pass those savings along to you. They have it in stock. And one of the benefits of having it in stock is you can buy it today and they can install tomorrow. Now, most people aren't ready for them to come install tomorrow, but they can do it. It's New Orleans Flooring. Keep your money local. And remember also, man, they are growing. The location right there in Prairieville on Airline Highway they just opened, they are tripling the size of that store here in the coming months. They continue to build out more and more space to bring in inventory. It's New Orleans Flooring. Go to NOLAflooring.com, NOLAflooring.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Not only did she tell us, but this young lady, stand up. And this young lady,
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back. Join us on Saturday, April 22nd at the Otter Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown presented by Oshner. Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got
After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Oh, we'll get to Otter locks, i.e. Hanny locks, in about 10 minutes from right now. Hanny's lock last night didn't exactly work out. Hanny gave us Pels -2 in the first quarter. Not great, Bob. Not great. Pels did rally. They led at half, and then they allowed a 39-point third quarter essentially to be their undoing. And they, you know what, I say that, but they stormed back. Great fourth quarter. Took the lead, and then it was a volley back and forth in the final 3 minutes or so, and the Pels just couldn't make the plays down the stretch, and their season ends 123-118 against Oklahoma City. Yeah, Muse?
Well, no, I was just going to say on Hanny's lock, it looked really good for a moment there when the Pels were up 9 in the first quarter, and then it just, you know.
Yeah, then no.
Yeah, then no.
Then no. There have been a lot of people today very outspoken. When the game ended last night, I'm telling you, I really was unemotional. I didn't want to fire off some angry tweet or whatever. But what I tweeted after the game was, if you're disappointed or angry, I don't blame you. I checked out on the season emotionally weeks ago when they lost to the Magic at home. It was the breaking point for me. It could have and probably should have been so much more. Zion dunking pregame didn't help. It didn't. I mean, that's been something a lot of people have talked about. Stephen A. on First Take today, though, I think took it even a step further about what this season could have been if Zion had been able to stay healthy.
If I'm Zion Williamson, or all of us talking about Zion Williamson, this is what we should say to him. My brother, a legitimate argument could be made that you just cost the New Orleans Pelicans a trip to the finals. I didn't say playoffs. I said finals. Because looking at the Wild Wild West, if Zion Williamson is in the lineup, right, and he can perform anything close to what we're accustomed to seeing, 27-7 on 60% shooting from the field, with the rest of the crew that they've got in New Orleans, considering how haphazard the Western Conference has been this year, New Orleans could have potentially made it to the finals, at the very least the Western Conference Finals. So his absence in that lineup cost them big time.
I mean, that ain't me saying it. That's not a Pelicans fan saying it. That's one of the most well-known NBA commentators. And remember, before Stephen A. became Stephen A., Stephen A. was a NBA beat writer and a columnist in Philadelphia covering the NBA. Like, that's the thing he does. One of the most well-known NBA voices in the world saying Zion could have cost the Pelicans a shot at the finals, the NBA finals. And you could roll your eyes and shrug your shoulders and throw your hands in the air and say, no way, but I'll remind you what this team was. Remember what they were. Yes, I get it. It was back in late December. It was Christmas. It was Christmas, wasn't it? Feels like a lifetime ago. Completely different reality.
We were wedging Pelicans talk in to the theme of Christmas music in October.
Yeah, we were.
Because that's how special they seemed they could have been.
I mean, they had the best record in the West. When Zion windmill dunked against Phoenix at home, 360 dunk, up 12 or whatever it was, and they blew out Phoenix at home, we're all looking going, oh, my God. They're a legitimate contender. And the injury bug bit them, no doubt. And that, look, Zion missing the time he did, B.I. missing the time he did. That's not even counting Herb and Jose being out right now and all. Look at any NBA team and take the two best players off for the extended amount of time that the Pels lost Zion and B.I. You don't recover from that, which is why I wasn't emotional about them losing last night. I think the writing was on the wall. what really annoyed me was watching Zion in pregame. If he was just there on the bench with his team, that's one thing. But getting out there in front of cameras and driving the lane and dunking the ball and I get it, it's a different speed from game speed in a elimination game. But that's the thing that bothered me and bothered a lot of people. Like, why are you not out there in a win or go home scenario? People played with worse, man. Did you hear Odell today? So Odell was introduced in Baltimore, and he acknowledged in 2021 he played the entire season without an ACL. We knew about it when with the injury of the Super Bowl, but Odell acknowledged he played the entire 21 season without an ACL. Dudes have played with worse than a sore hammy. I mean, win or go home scenario, teams count, and you're not out. It's a problem. That's a problem. And I've been the biggest defender. I've been hopeful of. I've pointed out examples like Steph early in his career with the ankle injuries, Joel Embiid with the foot injuries, and look, they've overcome. Joel Embiid's going to win the MVP this year. Should anyway. Like, guys have overcome injuries early in their career and become great players. And I don't think the things bothering Zion or the things that bother a guy it's not fair to say Greg Oden. Because the thing about Greg Oden was having microfracture surgery. Like, at 22, he was walking like a 52-year-old man. Like, his body was broken down. With Zion, you're talking about soft tissue thing. Like, these are things that, man, would seem to be, with the advances of sports medicine and preventative training and things, that you can work on these things and prevent these things from happening. But they just persist. In any event, a disappointing end to a disappointing season for the New Orleans Pelicans. And I would have loved to have seen this franchise take another step. Last year at the end of the season, when they won the play-in and got in, they were playing Phoenix in the series. And, do you remember a year ago, it's when the Pels 12 thing came about after Kendrick Perkins said they should move the team out of New Orleans. And there was such this, vehement backlash against Kendrick Perkins. Everybody rallied around this team. And a lot of people fell in love with the team last year because of that finish. It would have been an amazing statement to not only get that foothold, but to climb, building on top of what you did last year. And instead, it felt like you took a step back. It feels like the same old cursed organization that is bad enough to draft a star player that's not going to work out, and ultimately leave and try to win somewhere else. Like we saw with Chris Paul, saw with Anthony Davis, and now it feels like we're watching the same thing unveil with Zion. We all want it to be different. We hope it's different. We hope he stays here and wins here. And the way other great players in the past have cemented their legacies here. I mean, Drew Brees is the most notable, of course, but it extends beyond that. You look at, obviously, Joe Burrow, but, man, he's just got to get on the floor. If he can, it's going to be fun to watch. But last night was unacceptable. What we watched last night was Zion pregame, and then his team goes out and plays an elimination game. I'll say it was unacceptable. Here we are. Okay. We'll knock out our final break of the show. Come back, do some handy locks, see what Handy likes tonight on the slate. I'll text the Otter, see if he's got any picks. We'll throw those out your way as well. And we'll give you one last thought on LSU and Kentucky. They're 16 minutes away from first pitch out at the box. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
All right, speaking of LSU and first pitch out at the box, Pluckers is on Nicholson just south of Alec Box Stadium. So maybe you're knocking off of work and you want a place to watch the game tonight, get by either Pluckers location. Nicholson just south of the box or Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. You can't miss it. TVs everywhere, award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, and remember, every Thursday is all-you-can-eat boneless buffalo bites. So these are bite-sized chicken breast, breaded, fried, tossed in your favorite wing sauce, the boneless buffalo bites, all-you-can-eat every Thursday. So go right now, watch the entire LSU baseball game, watch your favorite MLB teams tonight, whoever it may be. Yankees first pitch against the Twins at 6:05. You can watch it all at Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. So if you can't get to the box and you're looking for a place to watch, you can watch at Pluckers. If you're headed to the box before or after, grab a bite to eat at Pluckers. Remember, it's Pluckers where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TB to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, online, theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. All right, one thing left to do, find out we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and of an incomprehensible, not the Odd Father. Nope, because he's not here. It's not the Odd Father. It's the Hanny Father. The Hanny Man? The Hanny Man. There it is. Otter's off gallivanting, looking at schools with EJ. So Hanny doing his best, nobly standing in for the Odd Father. How are you, Hanny?
I think Jimmy's narrowed his choices to 10 schools. He's got 10 hats. He's going to put them on a table. Maybe something on Friday. They're going to put it, they're going to stream it live from the high school gym. It's going to be great.
They do that now, or we just get the graphic, or do we have to get the stream, the stream of the announcement first, and then the edit comes out on Twitter?
Right, and it needs to be at least 20 minutes late, and the stream needs to cut out. How's that?
With bad audio that we cannot possibly. Right. It's an Instagram live with one bar of service.
With 19 reporters from various websites crammed into a high school gym somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
The perils of our profession adequately described. All right, Andy, what are we looking at tonight, man?
There's not a heck of a lot to choose from with the NBA off tonight, and we've already had roughly half of the Major League Baseball schedule go. Colucci's going to have some hockey for us tonight. The one that I would tell you is the Tigers and the Blue Jays go here in about 15 minutes. Chris Bassett and Spencer Turnbull have started 4 times and have a combined ERA of 25. So 9.5 is a pretty healthy over, but these two guys have struggled out of the gate. So we'll play an over. Like I said, pretty light night in baseball, and we don't have any basketball. So we'll lean on Colucci for the hockey stuff, and we'll play a little over on Tigers and Jays.
Well, I'll tell you this. Otter did send me 2 picks.
Okay.
One of them, he is in lockstep with you. He likes the over in the Blue Jays game. And he likes an in-game on the Reds right now because they're losing, and it's a plus price. They're down 1-0 to the Phillies. So you can get the Reds right now. DraftKings has it plus 125. So if you want to get in on that, you can do it as well. So where are you, Hanny?
We're at Walk-Ons. We're the original. We're right across from Alec Box. So a lot of the crowd here in the last 30 minutes, finishing up and walking across the street to see LSU and Kentucky. By the way, we did find an LSU minus 250 price, about the best price we can find on the Tigers tonight. Skeens is obviously a heavy favorite tonight against the first-time starters. So, it's a heavy price, so you don't have to necessarily jump in on that, but I like the Tigers tonight.
Actually, was at Walk-Ons, the original Walk-Ons for lunch today. Erica and Drew were both off of school, so they came, picked me up. We scooted over there, had lunch, got to see our buddy Dustin Lovelace over there, who obviously they do a great job at Walk-Ons, man. It's just been a staple forever, so they always treat us great. We're happy to go over there. So get on by and see the Handyman tonight. Game time starting here in about 8 minutes from right now. Thank you, Hanny.
All right, thanks, John.
All right, man. Be well. Game time with Jimmy Ott. Ott's out, Hanny in. 6 to 8 p.m. Of course, you want to get by, you can watch the game over there with those fellas as well with LSU and Kentucky. What about 7 minutes away from first pitch on the SEC Network? Of course, you can listen to it on Eagle 98.1. Want to remind you about Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. I love when this happens, as a matter of fact. Someone tweeted me. I'll share his name. Brad, looks like, well, I don't think he'll mind me saying because he put it on Twitter. Brad Ellerby said, Matt, y'all do roofs in Monroe, Louisiana. Well, of course we do, Brad. Hudco was founded in Bossier. So the flagship, the mothership there, as they say, is there in Bossier. So they'd love to serve you in Monroe. Our Bossier office can serve Monroe. Someone on the Hudco Twitter went and replied directly to Brad, and we'll get him in touch there. So it doesn't matter where you are in the state of Louisiana. Roof repairs, roof replacements, we'd love to help. From the smallest roof repair on a residential job to the largest commercial re-roof. Maybe you're a property manager and you manage properties all over the state, the country, wherever. We'll go outside of the state of Louisiana as well. We'd love to bid on all those giant commercial jobs as well. We're certainly capable, have all the systems, the products, the people all in place to do it. We'd love to work with you. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Okay, so Hanny, without even knowing it, gave you the over in the Blue Jays game. Otter also gave you over in the Blue Jays game. It's 9.5 at DraftKings right now, so they gave you the over. And again, Otter likes a in-game on the Cincinnati Reds. They're down 1-0 to the Phillies right now, so I was able to get it at plus 125. So plus money if you make a money line play on the Cincinnati Reds in-game right now against the Phillies. All right, got about a minute to go here. Muse, you want to give a thought on LSU and Kentucky here as we're about 6 minutes away from first pitch?
I mean, sure, yeah. Look, I like LSU this weekend. We talked about it a little earlier, man. I don't buy Kentucky just yet. I think they've done better on the mound than I expected to, but plenty of people picked them to finish 7th in the East this year. Like, there were people skeptical. So I like LSU in the series. I really like them tonight. And you hesitate to use the S word, but it is a possibility this weekend.
I'm not using that word.
Provided the pitching steps up a little bit for LSU.
When we have seen nothing from the day 2 and 3 starters, I cannot predict this week.
I know. I didn't predict it.
I know.
I said I like them 2 out of 3, but
I'm not even going to say it. The best for LSU this year, Paul Skeens, you expect to win every time Paul Skeens has the ball. Whether that's fair or unfair, that's the reality. You expect to win. You do that, and you split your next 2, you're going to have a really good year. And you'll have a really good end of your year as well. So go out and get this series. It starts tonight with LSU. Paul Skeens on the bump. Again, about 5 minutes away from first pitch. You can hear it over on Eagle 98.1. I know Muse is ready to get out of here so we can jet over to the box. You see a little truck speeding down Nicholson, it's Muse. We'll see you tomorrow.
AFR.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back. Join us on Saturday, April 22nd at the Otter Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and Joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown presented by Oshner. Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
Bayou Ford has $2,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% APR for 84 months on new 22 Ford Expeditions. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Otter.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.